After watching this one, I'm completely speechless. This is one of the most beautiful anime experiences I've ever seen. Your Name offers gorgeous visuals and some really godlike storytelling that's really makes me reminisce on stuff like Summertime Rendering. After I finished this, I was damn near in tears, I'm not gonna lie. This shit was phenomenal, man. It was a complete emotional roller coaster all the way through. Shit made me stand up and clap in front of the TV, my nigga, like I was in a movie theater or something. I'm really excited to talk about this one. But before we get into it, I'm just gonna politely ask you to like and sub, please, because I'm trying to reach partner, and you know, it helps the channel a lot, and I get to see more people, and more people get to see me. So please drop a like and sub. You can always unsubscribe later, it's free. It just takes a second too. You know how we do things around here. Let's get into the story. Man, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. You gonna have to lock in when you watch this, I promise you. I mean, like, you gotta lean in like your girl beating you a 2K game, because if you don't, you're gonna miss out on the beauty of this shit. Our story follows the two main characters, Mitsuha and Taki, and they're having this Freaky Friday type thing going on, where they switch bodies and they're living each other's lives a few times a week. Now, I'm gonna try to explain this as best as I can. This is a very complex story, but it's beautiful if you make sense of it. It's a 3-year offset in between their times though. As they live out each other's lives, they naturally grow closer to each other. One day, they both look up at this comet and all of a sudden they can't switch anymore. So eventually, Taki just says fuck it and tries to go to Itamori, the city where she lives at, to find her since her calls to her aren't going through. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Psych, nigga. That same comet that Taki seen when he was outside split and destroyed the city and killed a third of the population, including Mitsuha and her friends. And those journal entries that Mitsuha left them earlier on in the movie were disappearing right before his eyes when he found out the news. This is the time break that the grandmother was talking about early on in the movie. This is gonna get very confusing here, so lock in. Like I said, lock in. So early on in the film, Mitsuha's grandmother was explaining the concept of Misubi. Basically, what I got from it is, in simple terms, that Misubi is thread, and the thread represents time. And like the concept of time in this movie, it breaks down and unravels and it connects itself back together again. And I think that one sentence perfectly represents this movie as a whole. Everything connects again. This movie confused the hell out of me at first, until I realized, like, that specific line actually means a lot in this movie. So after finding out that Mitsuha died, he goes to the shrine that they went to offer the sake, or whatever it's called, and he drunk it. I'm not exactly sure how, but it gave him the ability to switch again. So Taki in Mitsuha's body is trying to prevent all the deaths from happening, and he makes an effort so the whole city can evacuate it and avoid dying and avoid the blast zone. I think while this is going on, Mitsuha is in Taki's body and they eventually meet and they attempt to write each other's names so they don't forget each other. Instead of writing his name, Taki writes "I love you" in the heat of the moment because there's really no guarantee that they're going to get their memories back. So back to the evacuation plan, right? The plan seemingly failed and it shows the comet hitting the city anyway and destroying the city. Fast forward, it's 5 years later and Taki has completely forgotten everything except for the fact that he's been looking for something for a very long time. And he had this infatuation with this city. And the TV is playing next to him. And he sees a news report that says the city was destroyed, but there were no casualties because everyone evacuated away from the blast zone, insinuating indirectly that the plan actually worked. At this point in the movie, I'm damn near out my seat because I'm so happy. So after the date, with his co-worker, Taki is sitting in this cafe and he overhears this couple talking about a wedding and having a ceremony like the one that Mitsuha did in the beginning of the movie. He turns around and sees Mitsuha's friends, Tessie and Notori. My eyes lit up because they all died before it, further emphasizing that the plan worked. So at this point, I'm on the edge of my seat, my nigga, and they did a great job at creating suspense at the end, because the scenes where they walk past each other completely blew me, nigga. They see each other on different trains, and at this point, they just started to look for each other, and then they walk past each other again. But this time, Taki asked her, does he know her? She says that she was about to ask him the same thing, and then they both ask in sync, what's your name? My nigga, this shit brought me to tears completely. I know I said that it damn near made me tear up, but fuck that, I was capping, I ain't gonna lie. This is some of the best storytelling I've ever seen. It's so complex, but at the same time, it could all be explained in that one sentence. that Granny said earlier on in the movie, and it's so beautiful how that works. Like, it's so complex but so simple. It's not that many times that the anime gets this much emotion out of me. The story is phenomenal. It's easily one of the best stories I've ever seen. Like, it's at least storytelling. Like, a lot of people not gonna get this, and a lot of people were probably confused after watching this the first time. But once I realized that one line Granny was talking about Musubi and explaining the concept of it, that one line connected everything together, and it just blew my mind how everything made sense after that. Like, the storytelling in this movie is like a masterclass. Like, it's really amazing. Next, we're gonna move on to characters and character interactions. They snap with everything in this movie, to be honest, and the characters are no different. The characters are great as well. Taki and Misuha are a phenomenal duo. Even when they're in each other's bodies, they have phenomenal chemistry. They both care for each other a lot, and they actually solve some of each other's problems, directly and indirectly. Misuha at home, Misuha deals with being the daughter of a politician that's really hard on her and that abandoned her at a certain point in time, and she gets bullied for it a lot at school. When Taki was in her body, he stood up to her father, and he put his foot down and stood up for her against those bullies at her school. Taki has a hard time dealing with his feelings, so she actually lands him a date with his crush, even though she ended up liking him anyway. And she left him with that red thread to begin with to help him find her. Taki helped her live the big city life that she desired as well. They're literally like a perfect team, and every interaction between them is super wholesome. It's really enjoyable to watch too, especially the interaction they had on that mountain during the half light. I couldn't help but smile the whole time watching that scene. They blushing hard as hell. It's the right amount of awkward. It's like cute. Like, this shit had me cheesing the whole time, man. I love these two little tee ass niggas, dog. I love these two niggas. That nigga Taki is funny as hell too. That nigga was sitting there crying, ripping her chest to shit in front of her sister. That shit was pure comedy. I actually like Taki's and Misuha's friends too. They're super genuine, and they all have Taki and Misuha's best interest. Even when they switch bodies, they still look out for them unconditionally. It's really refreshing. I'm really glad to think about that they all have a future where they all live together, since Taki and Misuha are technically married now. Every character in this movie is great. I like them all. Even Misuha's dad gets a little redemption, because you see what he had to deal with in the past, and losing his wife and losing their mother. All the stress that was on him. Like, they really take good care and attention to their characters in this. Look, personally, this ain't got nothing to do with her actual character in the movie, but the grandma is the real MVP in this movie for me. She's one of the real MVPs. The main characters are great. Like, they're the main characters, they're the central focus. But without the grandma, I wouldn't understand this movie at all. Without her telling me what Musubi is, she's the reason why I understand this movie, so she gets some extra points. And Misuha's sister is goated as well, and she's funny as hell too. So I love most of the characters in this movie. Next, let's move on to looks, presentation, and music. Look, bro, this movie is beautiful. This movie is so creative that it's kind of shocking. The visual storytelling is really jaw-dropping, and the way that they did things, it's just like they did things in the most non-lazy way possible. This is a very small and maybe minute detail that might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but they mimic a lot of camera shots in this movie, and I know for a fact that takes a lot of work. Not only are they animating this beautiful ass scenery that's going on in the shot itself, but they're mimicking camera movement around a subject, and they have these big panoramic shots while this scenery is going on, and while animating the actual subject themselves. I know it seems like a very small thing, but I know it took a lot of work, so I really appreciate them doing that. They could have cut corners. They could have easily just jump cut to the sky, but those little actions made this movie feel so much bigger, and they really snap with that shit. So I really appreciate little shit like that. I like the presentation too. The little music breaks in between the major parts in the story makes me feel like I'm watching a big ass anime finale. If you watch any of my videos before, you'll know that I'm a sucker for those anime moments playing their OPs during these big ass action sequences. And this movie did it like 5 or 6 times, and I ate that shit up every single time. I was sitting there geeking, seeing those little lyrics pop up at the top right of the screen and them being so relevant. Like, it's so cool how they presented this movie. The music was phenomenal in this movie as well. This is the first time where a movie's music felt super relevant to the story. The OST for this movie tells a story within itself, and the lyrics are super relevant to Your Name story. It's so cool. These anime need to put Put away that damn piano shit, dog. Keep on making me sad and happy too much, man. The music was perfect in this movie, and it's such a big part of this movie that it has no choice but to be memorable. The whole OST, after I watched this movie, I just watched it like 2 hours ago. After I watched this movie, I listened to the OST all the way through like 4 times, and it slapped every single time. There's not really much more I can say, bro. Like, this is one of the best pieces of anime media I've ever watched, and I mean ever watched. It got real tears out of me, bro. Like, this is an experience and a half, and I promise you, if you pay attention, you lock in, like it's 5-5, round 11, a Call of Duty match, if you lock in, this will end up being one of your favorite pieces of fiction of all time. It's a bold-ass claim, but I'm gonna stand by it 1000%. Please watch this now. Don't rob yourself of one of the best anime movies of all time. Before you even say thank you, bro. You're welcome, gang. You're very welcome. It left me speechless, bro. Like, it really left me speechless. It got so much emotion out of me. It was such an emotional roller coaster. I was engaged the whole time. I was sad. I was happy. I was confused. I was curious. Like, I was perplexed. Like, it give you so many feelings all in one film. And I think this is easily one of the best anime movies of all time, and one of the most enjoyable watches I had in a while when it comes to anime. It just they took that extra step. It's always an extra few steps that people just cut through, and that's not really necessary. You could tell how much love and care that they put in this movie. And man, I appreciate every bit, every work, every frame drawn, every piece of artwork, every piece of concept art, every scrap story element, every story element that was left in. I appreciate every staff member that worked on this. Like, this was a beautiful piece of anime. Like, man, that's it for me, man. I can go on all day talking about this shit, but I really love this movie. Your Name is great, man. Please watch this. Please watch this, I beg of you. After watching Your Name, I took a bit of a recovery phase because that movie had me in shambles. But in the end, I decided to watch the full movie series that Your Name was a part of. So we're going to talk about the next film in this series, Weathering With You, which is actually a really great movie. This movie is a great watch. It has some amazing messages within it. This movie is actually pretty simple when it comes to storytelling, but the visuals and the storytelling and music combine to make something that's super memorable. So without further ado, let's talk about Weathering With You. So, you know how we do things around here. We start off with the story. Like I said, the story in Weathering With You is actually pretty simple compared to its predecessor. But that's not a bad thing, as simple does not mean ineffective. This story was a really pleasant and heartwarming experience that offers some really cool messages in the end. Our story follows a girl becoming one with the sky and becoming this being called the Weather Maiden. We follow a 16-year-old runaway boy named Hodaka. He ran away from his home to Tokyo to pretty much find a new life in the city. This is an important detail later on, but Tokyo has had some very weird weather recently. It's been nothing but record-breaking rain in the middle of the summer. He has a bunch of trouble finding employment since he's a minor. He starts to struggle since he can't find a job. He eventually ends up living with a guy who saved his life on the boat ride to Tokyo named Kisuke. Although the pay is low, he's finally found his place where he wants to stay at this point, and he likes it there. One day he sees the same girl that gave him that free burger at the McDonald's walking to this shady club with this same guy that tripped him in front of that same club when he was homeless. Hodaka attempts to save her and ends up and douche on that nigga, and they end up running away together. We learn that her name is Hina, and she has the power to essentially control the weather, and she's living with her little brother Nagi and taking care of him all on her own since their mother died. She's been struggling to make ends meet, and she's looking for a job so she can take care of her brother essentially. Hodaka has this really good idea to make her have the sunshine for money, because people around want the sun to shine eventually because the weather's been so bad. And they work together and they make it a pretty lucrative business, to be honest, but there's a catch. And there's always a catch in one of these movies. She's a being that's a part of this legend called the Weather Maiden, and she will have to sacrifice herself if she wants the weather to go back to normal. And she learned this from Nasumi when they were all at that park. This anime reinforces a very important principle that I live by, and that principle is 12. The police was me riding hard as hell in this movie. Hidoka, Hina, and Nagi were all getting hounded by the police for a huge chunk of this movie. They were getting chased down by this nigga Special Agent Arigato with this nut-ass Kuwabara cut. Folks got that fat ass, "You're a Meshi," on top of his head, fat head ass. I don't like folks' ass at all, if you can't tell. They're trying to get him back home since his parents filed a missing persons report, but instead he decides to run with Nagi and Hina. The reason that Nagi and Hina are running is because they're trying to separate them since Hina lied about her age. She's not actually 18 years old. This sequence had a pretty nice touch that I don't know if I'm reaching here, but when they were getting chased, it seems like the worse the situation got, the worse the weather got, because it started snowing and stuff, which was a really cool detail if that's what they meant to do. After getting chased by the police for a while, end up staying in this hotel, and they share this heartwarming sequence of them just hanging out and having fun. And they show that Hodaka just wants this to be his life, him, Nagi, and Hina. And it's just such a cool, like, heartwarming little sequence. But at the end of the night, Hina asks Hodaka a pretty important question. She asks him if he wants the rain to go away, and he says yes, and then wakes up to sunlight after having a bad dream about Hina. I think this scene was actually super cool. Maybe I'm thinking a little bit too deep, but I don't think Hodaka realized how serious of a question that was to Hina. And I think Hina actually sacrificed herself because she truly wanted to make everything happy, since her sun girl thing seems to make so many people happy to begin with. After realizing that Hina is gone, the pigs actually arrested Hodaka, and they took Nagi into child care. The crazy thing is Hodaka actually weaves through the entire police station after this. I personally don't know how they let him get out of that. He had 5 stars in the police station. That really should have been impossible if you ask me. I don't know. But he ends up making a break for it and heading out to that same abandoned building when they first talk with the help of Natsumo. The sequence is actually super satisfying to watch, and there was actually a few intense moments. My nigga Hodaka had to fucking uplick again. He had to. But this time it was on his own mentor, and it was actually a pretty sad moment because his mentor actually wants to stop him so he can see his daughter. If you didn't know that his daughter had asthma, the grandma that's taking care of the daughter doesn't let his teacher see the daughter during the rainy days, and she just doesn't trust him all the way, but he filed for custody. So his teacher's trying to stop him just so he can see his daughter. It was a pretty sad scene. And then my nigga Pimp Nagi came through with the save of a lifetime. Hodaka eventually makes it to the gate with the help of Nagi and his teacher and goes to the sky to meet up with Hina again. After this completely and utterly jaw-dropping visual sequence accompanied with some really good music, and they show by the end of this sequence that the rain comes back, symbolizing that Hina is indeed back. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I've never been so happy to see rain, my nigga. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I'm glad they actually did that instead of just telling us that she's back too. I think that's a pretty nice touch. The movie ends out 3 years later. 3 years pass, Hodaka actually graduates and he's serving probation, and he goes back to a flooded Tokyo to meet with Hina. And he found out that his teacher actually got to see his daughter anyway. And he even kept a cat that he fed in the beginning of the movie, which is a nice touch. The cool thing about how this movie ended off was the fact that they acknowledged the circumstances of their decisions. Hodaka realizes that he's the reason that Tokyo is flooded, but he also accepts the burden being on him in exchange for Hina. There's a little nod to the people that watch Your Name as well in this movie. This film also shows cameo of Taki and Misuha. I didn't even realize that was Misuha selling the rings until I seen the red tire, and it was a pretty great touch. It was actually pretty rewarding since I endured that emotional roller coaster. Overall, I honestly love the story for Weathering With You. It's a love story that's pretty grounded outside of a few supernatural elements, and it reminds me of the most important teaching in all of our lives up until now, which is 12. Now, let's move on to characters and character interactions. The characters are actually really fun and likable in this movie, and honestly, it seems like it's going to be a reoccurring thing across all of these movies, to keep it a bean with you. Hodaka is really cool. He reminds me of me in the sense that he's going for the life that he thinks he deserves, and that's always going to be a respectable quality in my book, especially if you stand on your views as hard as he did. Like, Hodaka wasn't letting nobody, like, change his shit. He wasn't letting it in a way. I like how committed he was. I really like how committed he was. He was literally like looked at as a psychopath for the majority of this movie. Didn't let it phase him one bit. He also got Hina back in the end at the cost of the whole city, which is a really cool thing about their relationship. It doesn't matter if the world is crumbling around them. They're really just fine as long as they have each other. And Hodaka doesn't waver on his priorities either. He realized that he sacrificed everyone's normal world in Tokyo to get her back. He even realized that those rainy days don't even matter when he has his true sunshine right in front of him the whole time. My nigga, that felt gross to say. That was so cheesy, Jesus Christ. Hodaka also didn't hesitate to pick up Blick on these goofy ass niggas too, which is an aspect that I love about his character. He really will let nothing get in the way from what he wanted to do. Hodaka is a super well-rounded character and a really good protagonist figure in this movie. Hina is really cool too. She's really sweet. She really just wants two things in life. She wants to take care of her brother and she wants to make people happy. Her role as a Sunshine Girl was actually a pretty good story element. I ain't gonna lie, when I was an hour into this movie, I was waiting for some sad shit to happen. And her pure heart definitely provided that sad shit I was expecting. Once Hodaka woke up and seen that sunshine, I was like, alright, here we go, gang. My nigga woke up next to straight robe with no Hina in that motherfucker. She really made that decision to keep everybody happy, which is really selfless. Hina has also been through some shit too. Her mother died, leaving her to take care of her little brother at only 15 years old. She ended up having to lie about her age to get employment, and she ended up working at this McDonald's just to take care of him. And she's also so sweet and pure-hearted that she still risks getting in trouble by giving Hodaka free food. She's extremely kind-hearted, and I like her relationship with Hodaka. They essentially sacrificed their whole world for each other and Nagi. And they put their family as priority number one, even though it may not seem like morally the right decision in the world's eyes. Some consequences of their actions are seen immediately, and some build up later on, but that's the thing. They don't care. They don't care as long as they have each other, which is a beautiful thing. Nagi is my nigga. Lil bro got the bops. I ain't gonna lie, he got the bops for real, folks. What? I got hoes. Nagi got the hoes, dog. I love this nigga Nagi, dog. He's such a cool little dude. He's as likable as a character as you gonna get. That plan he came up with was so golden, and it really made me happy to see him and Hodaka interact with each other so much. He's super smart, and overall, he's just a good kid with a good heart too. Outside of the main duo, Nagi is definitely one of my favorites in this movie. Hodaka's mentor Kisuke and his niece Nasumi were super cool too. After the first watch, I didn't realize how sad Kisuke's situation was. The weather was literally keeping him from seeing his daughter, and he tries to stop Hodaka from seeing the person that he loves in exchange to see the person that he loves, which is actually a really sad situation if you think about it. That also shows the possibility of the world being a better place if those two weren't together. But he eventually dug deep and ended up helping him anyway. I know that took a lot. Nasumi was really cool too. She was just like super supportive of Hodaka, which is like a really cool thing. Even to the point where she risked getting into legal trouble, which is super cool because she really didn't even have to do that for real. The characters in this movie are extremely likable, and each interaction feels so satisfying because there's just enough character personality shown in these conversations to the point where it doesn't feel forced. Big shout out to all the vocal performances in this film. You all killed it, and I really appreciate the work y'all put in to make this movie happen. Now, let's move on to looks, presentation, and music. I knew this movie was gonna look good from the first drop of the rain, gang. I knew it was. Everything in this anime film looks spectacular, and some of these scenes will leave you completely speechless. My personal favorite is when Hodaka and Hina were watching the fireworks on top of the helipad. That shit was so beautiful. The movie also does the same mimic little camera shots that Your Name did, and they look amazing here too. It really gives certain shots a way bigger feel when you like add all that movement, and I don't know how to explain it. I really don't know why it does that, but it just makes this feel like a grand production. The scenery looks amazing in this movie too. The food looks good, the water looks good, the water looks phenomenal, and the little dream sequences where they're in the clouds are like awe-inspiring too. Everything looks great in this movie. A big shout out to the artists and the animators that worked on this. You created a very beautiful and visually appealing movie. I don't know if it's just me, but it's cool to see like actual real life branding in these movies. It just makes it feel more real in my opinion. Like it was pretty cool seeing McDonald's in a damn anime for some reason, like Hodaka opening the damn Pepsi. Like I think that was pretty cool. Music is done by Rad Wimps again, meaning that we're in safe hands again, my boy. And they did not disappoint. The soundtrack to this movie was great, and I pretty much got all the main soundtrack songs in my library, so I'm definitely going to be listening to this for the next couple of weeks. That song at the end where they were falling through the sky was perfect. Also, the ending song is phenomenal too. They just make the perfect songs for these movies, and they make me smile every time I hear them. They hit me like right in the heart every single time. Thank you, Rad Wimps, for treating us to yet another beautifully crafted soundtrack. I really appreciate it. This movie shows me one thing, and it shows that you don't need a super complex story to make something worthwhile. Whether with you is yet another adventure that the whole family can experience and enjoy. Shit, this might be one of the first movies that I watch with my kids whenever I have them. It's super easy to follow, but it's just as breathtaking as Your Name is. This is one hell of a successor, gang. I'm not gonna lie. This movie series has been super impressive so far, and it's making me like really look forward to watching Suzume. Weathering with You is definitely worth the watch. It's something chill and super sweet to watch, which is what I needed because I watched A Silent Voice, Your Name, and the first episode of Oshi no Ko all around the same time. So this is a good break from all that sad shit. I love this, man. I love this movie. It was super satisfying. Please give it a watch, and thank you to everyone that had a hand in making this masterpiece. So I've seen quite a few anime films now, and gang, I think I can confidently say that nothing could prepare me for how beautiful Suzume turned out to be. Makoto Shinkai has completed his three-peat for sure. Making Your Name, Weathering With You, and Suzume in a row is super impressive if you really think about it. Dog, Suzume went above and beyond, despite me having high expectations from watching the previous two films. I heard a lot of people comparing this to Your Name, and a common opinion that I've seen is that it's not as good as Your Name. And I do agree with that to a certain extent, but there are some things that Your Name does a little bit better than Suzume, but there's also some things that Suzume does better than Your Name. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it, as always, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button and the notification bell for more anime analysis and review videos just like this. So, no, we do things right here. First, we start off with the story. The story in this movie is phenomenal, plain and simple. These films so far have all really had like bizarre and unconventional storylines, and this was no different. So let's do our quick recap and summary. Our story follows a high school girl named Suzume who stays with her aunt Tamaki. Suzume's mother passed away when she was very young at like 4 years old, and her aunt took her in and raised her as her own basically. One day, on her way to school, she rides by this guy she's never seen before, and this guy asks her if there's any ruins around so he can find this door that he's looking for, and she gives him the directions to him. Curious about the guy, she ends up going to these ruins herself and finds the door that he was looking for. She opens it and finds this realm that she was in when she was a kid not too long ago. At the beginning of the movie, they showed it. Realizing that she can't get through, she then picks up this statue, and the statue turned into a damn cat. So she was like, hell no, I got the fuck on, as she should. But she left the door open. She went to school, and then when they were eating lunch, she sees a cloud of smoke coming from those same ruins that she told the guy about. And she rushes back to find that exact same guy trying to close the door that she left open, and the smoke is coming from that door that she opened. After a struggle on successfully closing it, we find out that his name is Sota. He's a closer. A closer is responsible for locking these gates to the ever after, which is that realm that Worm stays in. The smoke that she's seen is a worm. That same cat pops up and turns this nigga Sota into a chair, and it turns him into the chair that Suzume's mother made for her, and the one that she still has. So long story short, they're trying to close more gates and try to get Sota his body back at the end of the day. Now that I laid out the basic version of the plot, I must say that the way that they handled this was really good. This whole supernatural journey was fun to experience, especially when they evolved these cool ass like regular people on the way to the end goal. This shit has some good ass plot twists in it too. I really love how they presented them too, man. And I also love how some things were left up to our own interpretation. I'm always giving bonus points for that. The reveal of the second keystone during that intense-ass moments between Tamaki and Suzume was actually really surprising. It really broke up all that emotional tension with wait, what's up with this big-ass black cat over here? I thought that was really kind of funny, I ain't gonna lie. The reveal of the cat Daijin's purpose was really godlike in my opinion. Revealing that he was leading them to these gates and actually trying to help Suzume this whole time was pretty shocking, and it instantly made me fuck with him as a character. It's pretty open-ended too. When they revealed that, I was kind of thinking like what his purpose was and why did he do Sota like that if that was his purpose. And I actually have a couple reasons. I thought of a couple reasons. Daijin actually took a liking to Suzume. You can tell in the actual story. He actually wanted to be her cat like he said. And I think that Daijin was using Sota to motivate Suzume, since essentially that was the only way that she would be able to end all this, if that makes sense. I think that shit is pretty genius if that's the route they went, in my opinion. I think that shit is pretty genius. The ending scenes were extremely powerful too. Connecting back to the first scene in the movie was a really great touch. Watching Suzume talk to her younger self that was stuck in the ever after was extremely beautiful and extremely emotional along with it. Seeing how helpless she used to be after her mom passed away and kind of revealing that she hasn't even fully gotten over it herself was fire too, I ain't gonna lie. This scene was super impactful in this movie, and I love the way they handled it and presented it. The ending sequence was raw as hell too, showing that her and Tamaki went back home, and on the way home they stopped at and linked up with all the cool people that Suzume met on her journey was a cool ass addition. Him that Suzume becoming a nurse like her mother was fire too. And of course seeing Sota come back and having him and Suzume meeting the exact same place where they met the first time was an amazing touch. Hats off, bro. Well played. The story was handled in this movie in a very phenomenal way, and I'm extremely impressed at how they made this one stand out amongst the rest. Compared to Your Name, I would definitely say the story in Your Name is definitely better, but I think it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. Your Name dealt with time travel and has way more lanes and avenues for complex and engaging storytelling and the story elements. It's a lot of ways you can theorize about the story's outcome in Your Name. Suzume's story is a bit more linear, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's just a little bit more simple. and approachable if you ask me, because Your Name was actually pretty complex. Now let's move on to characters and character interactions. The characters are once again done very well in this film series, and Suzume continues this trend. There aren't even a lot of characters in these movies, but the ones we do get are all phenomenal. Suzume is great. She's super brave and extremely caring too. I mean, it's pretty obvious since she went on this whole journey just for Sota pretty much. She's extremely strong, especially considering that she's been carrying the pain of losing her mother at a really young age. Her mental fortitude is pretty unmatched too. She wasn't fazed at all by any of this supernatural shit after her first encounter. She also didn't even care how people looked at her when her ass was sitting there and mingling with a whole ass chair. Like that. I know it looked funny as hell. I like how they show her vulnerabilities though. They really let us know that loss of her mother still affects her a lot, especially when she was on that Ferris wheel and she seen her in the ever after. I also like how strong her and her aunt's relationship is. After her aunt got mad at her because she felt like she took her life away, she was extremely understanding, and I think that's really cool. A lot of normal people wouldn't be able to save the relationship after something like that is said, but they were able to hash that out pretty fast. She's a really good balanced main character, and I think she's written extremely well. Sota was great too in my opinion. I really like how forgiving he ended up being, because this was definitely Suzume's fault, but he didn't make her feel shittier about it because I think that he knew that she knew already. He's a really good representation of a lot of guys in the world, in my opinion. For a while, he puts on this everything is okay front to Suzume and seemingly accepted his fate and ignored what he actually wanted. But by the end of the movie, he was actually able to break through that it is what it is and this is how it's supposed to be type mindset, and finally was able to express loudly and confidently what he desired without the strong guy front, which is actually really cool. He's actually a closer because it's a job that needs to be done. It's not because it's his passion. He wants to become a teacher. He wants to spend time with Suzume. He already has this ideal life that he wants. It's just external influences that push that further and further away from reality. I really like how they use that front to comfort Suzume though, the whole way through. And I was even happier to find out that he didn't get stuck into that cycle of faking it. Sota is a really well-written character. I really like his character. It's funny realizing that nigga was still cool as hell, even as a chair. Boy, Daijin is a cool cat, folks. Daijin is my nigga though, okay? The crazy thing is, I liked him even before they revealed that he was helping them the entire time. He was just a cool character. He really cares for Suzume a lot, and he does everything to lead her in the right direction, even if it makes her hate him, which is wild. It's a crazy cool thing what they did with him. I really like how he sprung to life once Suzume realized that he was helping. He was just a good ass character, and he was a really effective character in the story as well. I really like how they did Daijin. Tamaki was a great character too. I like how they exposed her mindset over time. I definitely wondered in the beginning why she hated guys so much, and she didn't want Suzume to talk to any guys like that. But when she had the little argument with Suzume, it made sense, and it immediately clicked. She blames Suzume for her not being able to live her life and date, and she's been telling Suzume not to date because she's kind of envious of her and she doesn't want her to experience it if she can. I know this all sounds like super selfish, and it is, and that's why I'm glad she let Suzume know that she only thinks like that less than 10% of the time, I should say. And the good outweighs the bad easily. I'm really glad that she let her know that. Tamaki is a great character. They took a really realistic approach with her mindset, and I really like how they revealed it over time and shown how she actually felt about the situation. All the people that Suzume met on her journey were really cool too. Serizawa was really cool. Miki, Rumi, and her kids were really cool. Chika was really cool too. I'm really glad they showed them all more love in the credit scenes too. They did a great job of the character writing in this, man. Shout out to the voice cast as well. Now let's move over to looks, presentation, and music. Now, remember how I said that Suzume did some things better than Your Name? My nigga, this is where, bro, this movie is absolutely gorgeous. The visuals in this movie are absolutely breathtaking. And it's not just for a couple scenes, gang. There is an abundance of beautiful ass shots in this movie. From the worm scenes to any scene in the ever after, they made pretty much everything look phenomenal. Shout out to Comics Wave for the animation. This is one hell of a project to have on your resume. Alright, bro, I'm sorry. Presentation and animation ain't the only thing that they did better than Your Name, gang. I know that Your Name has sparkle and Dream Lantern, but gang, it seems like they put an absurd amount of love into the music in the movie. And not just even in the tracks with lyrics either. The entire soundtrack. And the sequence where they were closing the gate in Tokyo, that song they played during that sequence was probably one of the hardest beats I've ever heard in my life. Nah, I deadass thought Metro produced that bitch. I was not in my head hard as hell during that entire part. And not to mention the title track too. The Suzume song just feels so grand and epic that I can't help but constantly listen to it. The cinematic drum hits, the vocals, the beautiful vocals, is just so good, bro. The creative instrumental on it. I'm definitely adding a few songs to the Arigato playlist, link down below. The way that they presented this movie was extremely fucking special, and it's gonna be a while before I can say anything non-action looks or sounds better than this. Overall, I think Suzume is right there with Your Name and What the World With You. These films have their own unique feel to them, and this one in particular just happens to be the most beautiful anime movie out there right now. Nigga, go watch this right now. Matter of fact, grab whoever you got around you and tell them to watch this with you. It's honestly a must-see in my opinion. I think all these movies are. These movies are packed with gorgeous and super emotional moments that make you question how it's even possible to create some shit this good. Suzume is simply goated, and I'm glad that I finally covered it. Please watch Suzume, man. You will not regret it. I'm not gonna lie, after my first watch, I see why y'all said The Silent Voice is the best anime movie. Man, I gotta stop watching these emotional ass movies. This is great though, I'm not gonna lie, this is really great. I definitely see what all the hype is about. This movie was actually super relatable to me personally, and it actually left me with a great message at the end, but we'll talk about that one a little bit later. Let's dive into this beautiful tale of empathy, A Silent Voice. As always, before we get into it, as always, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps me reach new people, support the channel, you know, helps me keep on doing these. So, you know how we do things around here. We're gonna start off with the story. Compared to Your Name, the story in A Silent Voice is actually pretty basic structure-wise, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't just as effective. The story of A Silent Voice is a simple but so interesting tale. It follows our main character named Ishida, who bullied and tormented this deaf girl named Nishimiya until she transferred. After she transfers, he rightfully gets outcast, and years later he tries to make amends. For this section, I usually just run through the story of the whole movie, but we're just gonna talk about, I'm gonna change things up. We're just gonna talk about some of my favorite scenes. From the beginning to the end of this movie is filled to the brim with some super powerful ass scenes that are guaranteed to get at least a slight emotional response out of you. I mean, hell, gang, the movie starts with this nigga marking off his last days on his calendar. He's literally about to kill himself because of all the guilt he felt for tormenting her. And the guilt built up to the point where he hated himself. Honestly, this is just a great way to hook us in at the beginning of the movie. It was a really good way to hook us in. The scenes where Ishida is actually bullying her were actually super hard to watch, therefore being super effective. He was a kid that was bullying someone that he didn't consider normal, and she was just trying to fit in and make friends. He was completely irrational, and she was just trying to be normal, and she didn't ask for things to be this way. That's how the scene was created. I think this scene is actually like super beautiful because it's hard to watch. Anytime that they make it hard to watch for something like that is actually like super effective. That's what they were going for. I think the scene where his mom found out that he was trying to commit suicide was actually really powerful too. It made me really like his mother a lot, because even though she know like in the past that he's been a troublemaker, she's seen it, and she's still seeing that he was trying, and she would not allow him to act so rashly and not give up on her son, bro. I really like Ishida's mother a lot. This scene was great, a really powerful scene. This is a small one, but the scene where Nishimiya told him that she loved him was actually a really powerful scene to me too. This scene was great. She tried to tell him that she loves him, but he misinterprets it because it wasn't very clear, because she can't really talk like properly, and she gets upset and starts to hate herself because she views her being deaf as a limitation and a hindrance that's ruining her life and her relationships with others. I think this scene is like super duper effective because it's something that we could all relate to at a certain point in time. We all have or had something that we didn't like about ourselves that made us look at ourselves in a bogus way. What we failed to realize at that time was those so-called limitations actually help you weed out the people that are bad for you, and actually help you find the people that actually genuinely care about you. And it ends up being a blessing in the end. Put it this way, this is how I think about it personally. If I got X, then the niggas that's around me really gotta love me for real. And X doesn't make you less of a person because everyone has one. Sorry I got off the rails there, but this is kind of what Nishimiya is dealing with, and I'm glad that she got the people that she deserves, even with X. The scene when she was about to jump off the balcony was really powerful too, my nigga. Thank God her sister told Ishida to go get that camera, because I was about to cue up the base booster Juice WRLD if she died. I mean, straight, this is the part where I tell you I'm fine, but I'm lying. I just don't want you to worry. This scene, oh my God, bro. It's another one of those scenes that like gets me super emotional, bro. When she stood up on that balcony, I was like, hey, yo, what you doing, dog? Hey, get down from there, dog. What you on? Cause she was like, I gotta go study. I was like, wait, that's weird. And then it just kept on getting more and more intense. Thank God Ishida saved her. Thank God. That was about to crush me, I'm not gonna lie. I think the scene where he meets Ueno again was cool too. We knew at this point that Ishida has changed a lot, but the people from his grade school didn't. And this is like the scene where they actually showed them that he changed. The moment where she took out her hearing aid was cool because he hit her ass with the, yeah, we don't do that here. And gave it back to Nishimiya. And before that, when it was on the back of his bike, he told her, "It's like, ah, ha ha, get your goof ass off my bike, ah, ha ha." It was just a really golden ass scene, bro. I really love this scene. And of course, the scene at the end where Ishida was able to see people in the world normally again. It's crazy because my homie Kobe told me to watch this, and he sent me this TikTok of this guy crying at this exact scene. And I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that, bro. It ain't even that deep for real. And long and behold, I just finished this movie like 3 hours ago, and I cried at the exact same scene. I started tearing up at the exact same scene. I'm over here like, God damn it. Like, God damn it, dog. But it's just that effective. Like, this scene is just that effective because a lot of people, a lot of guys that have been through depression, that go through depression like me, have been here, have had this moment, and have felt the way Ishida has felt. So I think it's just like, it's only natural, bro. Like, it's only natural that this gets some kind of emotional response out of us. At the end of it all, this is a beautiful story of empathy and redemption that anyone can enjoy. Silent Voices in one word story-wise is phenomenal. It's not much more to say about it. Now, let's move on to characters and character interactions. I like how real the characters are in this movie. I think everyone is written pretty well, and I think even the characters that you're supposed to dislike are actually really good. Ishida is literally just like me. Remember how I said this movie was like super relatable to me personally? He's the main reason. Ishida is a guy who's hurt people in the past and trying to redeem himself and make amends. I'm the same way. I haven't always been the best person. I've spent time trying to mend relationships with people that I've hurt. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Charges to the game, keep it moving. During that time of healing though, I've dealt with that same X thing that Ishida dealt with. You know what I'm talking about? The little X over the people's faces, like, cause he didn't want to look at people. I didn't want to look people in the eyes. I was a bit awkward and I didn't like myself either for what I've done in the past. But just like Ishida, if you keep moving forward, you're gonna heal, and eventually all those X's are gonna disappear, which I think is like really cool symbolism that they did right there at the end. Ishida is a good representation of a lot of modern day guys like me that deal with or dealt with depression. And it's not a surprise that I vibe with him so much because he's literally just like me. We can all relate to Nishimiya as well. We've all been picked on for something, even if it was out of your control. And if you haven't, that's cap. They were just sneak to see you. That's just what it is. Nishimiya is a great character. She's super strong and she's very understanding. She could completely locked up and never tried to make friends again. Shit, she could have told Ishida to fuck off, and I wouldn't even be mad at her. That's the thing. The main thing is, gang, I'm glad she's alive. It's like, I don't think you niggas understand. I am happy that she's alive. I have immense joy that this fictional character from this anime movie is alive, and I have no shame. It brings me immense joy. She deserved better, and I'm glad that she got better by the end of the movie. I'm super glad. I really love Nishimiya as a character. It's crazy that I don't even hate Ueno because I really could. I really could hate her ass. This is a post edit Devon. Disregard that last message. I just rewatched the scene where she threw her against that fence where she was hurting. I hate her ass. I hate her a lot. I don't hate her, but it's just like, damn, nigga, read the room. She's just super inconsiderate and stubborn, and by the end of the movie, she's still not where she needs to be. But that's fine. She's a good representation of a lot of people in the world. Some people are too fixated on their own wants and needs and to even begin considering how niggas are feeling. And they made a character that's a perfect representation of that. I think Ueno is actually a really good character for what she's supposed to be. The rest of their friends in the group are cool, even though a couple of them niggas aren't as innocent as they were acting. But they let bygones be bygones, and they have a pretty healthy group as a result. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. Yuzuru is super cool. I really like how it took her a while to let Ishida talk to her and her sister. She's overprotective, but she makes judgments based off of a healthy mixture of logic and emotion, which is really cool. Seeing her open up to Ishida was actually really cool too. I enjoy every scene that she's in. And once again, thank God she told this nigga to go get that camera. Please, thank God. Bro, Yuzuru is the MVP. Cause man, she saved me from depression right there. She saved me. I think two characters that probably don't get talked about a lot is the mothers. The mothers are phenomenal characters, both of them. Ishida's mother's really like, I fell in love with her when she was about to burn that money. She's amazing. That whole scene was amazing, and she's like really understanding and really nice to Nishimiya's mother as well. Nishimiya's mother's a really good character as well. She's goated. You can't really be mad at her no matter what she does too. Because at the end of the day, her precious daughter's getting bullied. All the money from those hearing aids are coming out of her pocket. You would hate that nigga too.
Side note, I'm glad she ran fade with Ueno. I wish she beat her ass a little bit better, but I mean, she ran the fade, so I don't care.
You would react the same way. And even then, she still forgave him, which is another beautiful, powerful ass scene where they were all sitting at the table and she accepted Ishida. She accepted him. And this was even before he saved Nishimiya. It was even before that. So I think that Nishimiya's mother is actually a really good character as well. The character writing in the silent voice was great, and they did a good job at creating a cast of characters with different personalities and dynamics and making them feel as real as possible. Some work, some don't work, just like people in real life. Now, let's move on to looks, presentation, and music. The anime looks really good. It isn't as flashy as Your Name, but I think it doesn't really need to be. A silent voice uses its visual storytelling in a more literal sense, while Your Name uses a lot of symbolism to tell like the story visually. I think that the actual scenery is where they flex a little bit. I don't know why they animated out of those fish, dog. The fish that they was feeding at that bridge, they animated the hell out of those. I don't know why they did that. And I really like the art style in this too. It's very different from what I'm used to, but it's like very pleasant on the eyes. It's not too saturated or anything, so I really like the art style. I mean, everything served its purpose pretty much in this movie. The characters were super expressive. The voice acting is phenomenal. I don't talk about voice acting enough in my videos, but shout out to everybody on the cast of this. Y'all all did a phenomenal ass job. The music was more of a mood setter, which is perfectly fine, and more in the background, which is perfectly fine, because it only makes me pay attention to what's on the screen more. So the music doesn't have to be super memorable. And even then, like, the music still got emotion out of me because they still hit that damn piano that I told y'all to stop hitting, goddamn it. The message that this movie left me with was people change. They may have done bad things in the past, and you have every right to hold a grudge and not make amends with them. But if you decide to, you could potentially end up one of the best friends that you ever had. Also, your actions have consequences, and you have to be ready to face those consequences. It's just like, the message is pretty simple from this. A Silent Voice is a movie I think that everyone can watch and everyone should watch. It's something that everyone could enjoy, and it's simply just beautiful. Honestly, I don't really know why it took me so long to watch this, but I'm glad I finally did. This got the emotion out of me that, you know, that Your Name got out of me too. I love it, honestly. Anytime that an anime or anime movie or a show, it don't matter. Anytime that anything can make me feel like have emotional responses out of it, I enjoy it. So thank you to the writer, the manga writer of A Silent Voice, the author, the illustrator, whoever drew it, the animator, animation studios, the voice actor. Thank you to everyone who worked on this and have a play on this. Even the unsung people, the sound designers, everyone who worked on this. Thank you so much for creating this beautiful piece of anime.
All right, now I'm well aware of the criticism that this movie has, but all in all, I still like it. Now, is the story good? Not really. Are the characters memorable? I mean, Yuta and Hibiki are pretty cool characters. I think that they're okay. They're pretty cool characters. Does this movie provide a unique experience if you view it with an open mind and you appreciate it for what it is? You're damn straight. This movie is so fucking beautiful, bro. And I'm telling you, if you're not too much of a critic, you will have a great experience with it, and you will enjoy every second of it. So, you know how we do it around here. First thing we're gonna start off with is story. So, the movie Bubble is set in a post-disaster Tokyo, where these bubbles literally took over the city and caused floods and a bunch of structural decay. The current inhabitants of the city are all parkour racers, and they break up into teams to race each other, putting up resources like food and drinks and shit, while like wagering their own. So it's like a winner takes all type thing. The co-plot surrounds this mysterious girl named Yuta that saves our main character Hibiki after he fell in one of the bodies of water during one of the races. And after she saves him, she sticks around and even joins their team and races with them, and it creates some really beautiful scenes. So that's story. Characters. We're only gonna cover Hibiki and Yuta since they're like the really main characters of the story, and the other characters really don't have that much significance besides that one guy. The one guy with the metal foot, the prosthetic leg. Like, our main character Hibiki is an extremely talented and pretty antisocial runner for our home team, the Blue Blazes. He was abandoned by his mother shortly after she found out that he had an auditory sensitivity, and that's the reason you always see him wearing headphones and always have headphones on. And that auditory hypersensitivity helps him hear this song from the bubbles that he hears a lot throughout the movie. Yuta, which is the mysterious girl that saved him, is the love interest of Hibiki. It's a pretty mysterious girl that literally came out of nowhere, and she's very naturally talented at parkour. And early on, you could tell that like she has something to do with the bubbles, because like I think she touched Hibiki once, and then she literally started turning into bubbles. Like bubbles are her original form, and I think it's when she touches any human. Matter of fact, like she just turns back into her bubble form. They both are pretty cool characters, and they share some pretty cool scenes together, I'm not gonna lie. Now, let's get to where this movie shines. Looks and presentation. What this movie lacks in character development and support for its story elements, it damn sure makes up in the visual department. This shit is gorgeous. This movie is gorgeous. I mean, like, breathtaking. I mean, like, them niggas must not pay their taxes either. Gorgeous. There are certain scenes in this movie that I can play back over and over and over again and still be amazed as when I first watched it. Especially that whole ending sequence where Hibiki's trying to save Yuta while she's up there with her sister. Like, that is some really beautiful scenes visually, and music is really good in this. I'm gonna talk about that next. The music is really good in this. It's perfect for these epic scenes that they already portrayed. Wiz Studio did a phenomenal job with this, and not to be surprised, like they're one of the 3 animation goats, like Ufotable, Mappa, and them. Like that's it. Like Mappa, Wiz Studio, and the tax evasion tyrants themselves, Ufotable. This is pretty much expected of them, but they always knock it out the park somehow. Now let's move on to music. The music in Bubble is really good. I mean, like, crazy good. Hiroyuki Sawano did a really good job at composing and creating beautiful music that perfectly coexists with what's happening on the screen. Like, you would think that it has to be lacking. You would think that, like, visually you can't really match what's going on the screen with audio, but the composer did a really good job at, like, portraying, like, that epicness you see on the screen. Whatever's happening on the screen, the music is perfect for it. Like, the score is amazing for it every single time, especially the race songs, like the race pieces that they play while they're racing, or like the ending sequence where Hibiki's trying to save Yuta. The songs they have for this movie are crazy. It just both visually and auditory elements, the visual and the auditory elements of this movie, they just perfectly coexist. Like, perfectly. So much, it's almost like listening to a Weeknd album. It's an experience. Like, it takes you, it's like an out-of-body experience that you could just turn your brain off, even though it has some meaning to it. Like, I'm not gonna say the story is a complete ass. Like, there's still some story elements that's pretty cool, but you can like turn your brain off. You can just experience this movie for what it is, and it's like, it will take you on a trip. Like, this movie is like amazing. When I say breathtaking, I really mean, like, I didn't really talk much when I was watching this movie. I talk a lot when I watch movies, because that's how me and my homies watch shit. I didn't talk that much, bro, because I was just so shocked at how good this shit looked and how good the music was. Like, it completely threw me for a loop. And I know a lot of people have these criticisms that's for this movie are very fair. Like, there's a couple things and there's a couple story elements that don't get talked about too well in the actual movie. But besides, if you could look past that, this movie will take you on a trip. Hate the story all you want, bro, but the visual and audio design of this movie, top notch. Like, completely top notch. Now, if you're too critical and overanalyze the common criticisms for this movie, then you're not gonna enjoy it. That's just plain and simple. But if you sit back and let the visuals and the music sweep you away, like I did, then you're in for a fucking ride, my nigga. And this is a ride that you be so glad that you hopped on, bro. I promise you. Like I said, if you overanalyze shit and you go in with a very closed mind and already looking for the problems that the critics already shown y'all and already told y'all the movie has, then you're not gonna enjoy this. But like me, if you try to enjoy stuff like for what it is and you don't try to look too deep into it or find something wrong with it or be picky and shit, you're gonna like it. The music and the visuals carry it, they do. But man, I think it's okay in this scenario. I think it is. Just look at those scenes. Like, you just look at that shit, bro. Like, it's so beautiful, man. Like, I can confidently say, like, with the exception of Fate and Fall Kill the Five Elements, I can say, like, this is one of the most beautiful pieces of anime I've ever seen. Like, visually and music wise, like, this is up there amongst the top dogs. And I know that might sound crazy because this movie, people don't really like this movie that much because of the story. But if you throw story out the window, like, yeah, it's not the best story. If you throw it out the window, which, like, for some things you kind of got to, or you're just not going to enjoy it. I'm not really looking for a crazy story writing in a parkour movie. Maybe that's just me. I'm not really looking for that. If you throw story out the window and you don't think too hard about how bad the story is, this movie, like, it's really good. It's really good. I think this movie is supposed to be an experience. Yeah, story sprinkled in there that's not explained very well, but this movie is supposed to be an experience. I think it was made to be that experience that I had with it. But you know, everybody's critics nowadays, so they shit on it. But if you haven't watched this movie, please do. What do you have to lose, bro? Like, honestly, like, if you don't like it and you still can't get over the story, at least you got some pretty ass scenes that you can remember. Like, those scenes are still memorable. This movie is beautiful, bro. Watch it, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Watch it. I recommend it. I know a lot of people might not. This movie is really gorgeous, man. I said this so many times throughout this video, but I really fucking mean it. This movie's gorgeous. Nah, y'all knew I had to do this eventually. Turn that music on. Hey, fuck that, look at that, yeah. Alright, that's enough of that. Alright, this movie is extremely cool. It's a simple movie, but it's really effective in the story it's trying to tell. I remember from my first watch of this movie, loving the music and the art style in the movie, and the overall tone of the story in general. Like, this movie makes me care a lot about regular stuff, and it really, like, gets you invested in the characters, and I think that they do that on purpose. And you really get invested in the family and their daily lives even before my nigga Totaro comes out. It's really cool. On the surface, it looks like it's nothing happening for a decent chunk of this movie, but I think that's intentional. I think Studio Ghibli and the authors, like, made it like that so you will fall in love with the character's personality before adding any, like, supernatural presence. And even then, the supernatural presence isn't the most important thing than the root of this movie, which is the family interacting with each other, which is nice and rewarding since it makes you care a lot about the characters in the first 30 minutes of the movie anyway. I really like the way this movie is structured. You know how we do it around here. First thing we start off with is story, and for this one I'm just gonna go through the whole entire story, so spoiler warning if you haven't watched this movie's old as hell, so you should have watched this. But if you haven't, spoiler warning, just make sure I don't ruin it for you. My Neighbor Totaro follows the story and follows his family in moving into their new house in the countryside, with the two girls, Sasuke and Mei, being the main focus of the movie. Like I said earlier, the main focus of this movie is exploration of the character dynamics within the movie while they're getting used to life out there in the countryside. So along with Sasuke and Mei, they live with their dad and their mom's in the hospital, but they're not very sure when she's coming home, or they're not very sure how serious her hospitalization. Oh yeah, the stories, bitch. Her hospitalization is, like, how serious it is. One day, Sasuke's out at school. Well, okay, so I'll just skip some shit in the script. So basically, they're settling in. They meeting their new neighbors. Their house has some kind of supernatural presence in it to start off, and they can tell that, you know, something's going on with this house, but they're pretty much okay with it. Where the story really starts picking up is one day that Sasuke's out at school and their dad is out teaching at the university. Mei goes into the forest and meets Totoro and his friends. She sees them before they actually go into their home, but she follows them and then they meet Totoro. Totoro is a really cool magic beast nigga. Like, he's a whole ass move, and I'll talk about him a little bit more in the next section, but he's a cool ass nigga. Like, I'll fuck with Totoro a lot. So Sasuke meets him shortly after, and they just chill with this nigga sometimes. Like, they just, like, Totoro actually, like, one of the guys type shit. One day they get a telegram, though. Like, and this is where the movie, like, I blame the mailman, first off. One day they get a telegram, and then the telegram says to contact their mom's doctor. And, you know, which is super vague. I don't even blame the mailman. I blame whoever brung that bitch out, whoever said that shit. I think the doctor, whoever sent that shit out with that vague ass message, like, that's really concerning, because they said just check on and call the mom's doctor. That's super vague, no explanation on that bitch. So you just making niggas worry for no reason, you feel me? Like, so the doctor says that she can't come home Saturday, even though she was supposed to come home on that Saturday, and she was looking fine when they just visited her a few days ago. So you know this is going for, like, you know, we all thinking it, like, is she about to die? Like, but no one's saying it out loud. Like, you could tell that they're worried though. Sasuke tells this news to Mei, and Mei gets mad because she really wants to see her mother, which is very reasonable for a kid who haven't seen their mother in a while, like regularly, and a kid that don't have their mother around in the house every day. Like, I think that's a pretty valid like thing to get upset with. So you can tell, like, Sasuke is also frustrated because this happened in the past. Like, her not being able to come home for a weekend, it happened in the past, and they said, like, it was just a cold. But Sasuke ended up taking out her frustration on Mei. Like, she tweaks out completely. So Sasuke is mad at Mei for acting like a child and, like, being upset. And you know what she asked her? She straight up asked her, Mei is 4 years old, by the way. Straight up asked her, do you want mom to die?
Die, May? Is that what you want?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Like, whoa, what the fuck? I remember when I watched this the first time, I was like, okay, like, what? Hello? Dead ass, G? Like, what the fuck? You come on, boy. Like, boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Ain't no way.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
She is 4 years old, bro. You just don't come out and say that shit like that, fool.
You don't do like that.
Like, I get it, niggas trying to be strong and shit, and niggas got frustrated and they cracked under the pressure. You can't be saying that shit to no 4-year-old and putting that in their mind, fool. That's some real fucked up shit, man. That's wild as fuck to say to a little girl that wants to see her mom, but at least, like, she instantly regrets it. Cause, man, she really bogus as hell for that. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, of course, like, we were all thinking it. Like, when I watched the movie, we were all thinking it. And I guess, like, pretty much anybody that watched the movie, we were all thinking the same shit. But we didn't, like, know that anybody was gonna take it there. Like, that's some wild shit to say to someone so young, bro. That's so wild. But that don't mean you gotta say it, gang. It's fucked up. So Mei ends up trying to storm to the hospital and gets completely lost, and no one can find her. And she looks everywhere. Sasuke looks everywhere to find her, but she has nowhere else to turn. So she goes to that same tree where Mei says she met Totoro the first time, and she finds him. Like, so Totoro is basically a spirit that only lets you see him when he wants you to see him. If Totoro wants to be seen by Sasuke, luckily this time. This is funny as hell. So Totoro calls out for this fucking cat bus that they seen when they were waiting for their father to get him his umbrella. He calls this fucking cat bus. It takes her right to Mei. And then they both go to the hospital and they see their mom laughing and smiling and reassuring that everything is okay. And Mei leaves the corn. Like, so the granny gave Mei a piece of corn or a thing of corn. And she said that Mei said that if I bring this to mom, she'll probably feel way better. And the granny confirmed that. So Mei was trying to give her this corn. That's why she went to the hospital to begin with. And Mei leaves the same corn on the windowsill by her bed and his car for mommy on it, and it's just such a little beautiful ass scene, bro. They really did their shit with that one. For it's so fucking beautiful. I love like how genuine and how happy go lucky these scenes are in this show. Then at the end credits, I didn't notice it the first time, but watch the end credits when you look at this movie. They showed like this little slideshow before the actual credits. Their mom actually does come home, and she gets all better, and she stays. Like, it's a really happy ending at the end of this shit, and I never really noticed that because I thought it was kind of like, I was like, bro, what the fuck happened to the mom? Like, she good? I'm so sick that my goofy ass did not pay attention to the end of that shit. So that's pretty much the entirety of the story, man. Like, I know I covered the whole thing, but I have to lay this out just so I can like really go on the characters and really talk about how much I love the characters. So let's go over to the characters now. I really appreciate how this movie handles its characters and its character interactions and its relationships. This is a really well-functioning family that has flaws, but that's something that you don't see that often. Like, there's no tragic backstory, there's no shunned family members, it's just a simple, happy family. And since I don't really live in one, it's kind of nice to see. Get a little personal, but you know. So let's start off with their dad. I really like his character. He's a really fun and like supportive dad. Like, he really loves and trusts his daughters a lot. He handles situations very rationally and does his best to comfort his girls whenever it is necessary to. Even when they're not in any immediate emotional stress, he still does. You can see it when they first move into the house. He's making sure they're comfortable every step of the way. He's really cool, asking like if you're cool with this, if you're all good with this. And he's like really fun, man. He's really like positive and uplifting. Like, he really loves his girls. Their mom is really cool too. I like how they handled her character and her situation, because like, it's really unique having a mom in hospice, not being able to see her daughters, but only seeing them on visitations and shit like that. She's always trying to reassure to her daughters, like that she always trying to reassure to her daughters that she okay and she's coming home soon. And she's very aware that this is hard on her family, so she tries to comfort them often. She sees right through Sasuke's act. She knew that it was especially hard on her because Sasuke's trying to stay strong for Mei, and Mei looks up to her and her mom so much. Sasuke's and Mei's relationship is really cool too. Like, I always like how people approach sibling dynamics in various forms of media, and I love how the writers handled this one. Sasuke is the big sister, and she's aware that there's pressure on her to stay strong for Mei while their mom's in the hospital. But she's not perfect. The pressure gets to her, and she eventually messes up and says some completely off the wall shit to Mei, and she knew what was wrong. Mei's trying to stay strong too. That's why she was trying to go to the hospital in general. In the end, this rough patch ends up strengthening their bond even more, and all this pays off, and now their mom is home and completely well. There's also a really good supporting cast in this show, in this movie. I mean, like Granny and Kanta. Kanta is really well written. He clearly likes Sasuke. This nigga be staring at her in class and shit, like completely starstruck. He be nervous as hell for like, look how fast this nigga ran when he gave him the umbrella. This nigga up this 40 times. That's a 4-3 flat. Bears need to draft this nigga immediately. Like, shit. Granny's cool too, man. Granny's really cool. She's real sweet, and she's a real sweet and comforting figure. She's really approachable to the family, especially the girls, even though they might come off a little bratty at sometimes. But you can really tell that she cares for them and the family. And last but definitely not least, my nigga Totaro 00 fucking G, my boy. This nigga is a vibe. He just be chilling, bro. I love this nigga, man. He just be out there smiling, big as hell. He just having fun, just creating smiles, making niggas laugh. Like, I'm glad the whole country can't hear this nigga roaring, because they'd be mad at me if I was there. I'd be up there laughing or roaring up there with that nigga too, just sitting there for the vibes and enjoy every second of it. Totoro and his homies just be chilling, bro. He's a monkey rich in this otherwise very normal and very practical story, and he plays this role perfectly. Like, I love what they did with Totoro's character. Now let's move on to looks, presentation, and music. This is the stuff that I remember from the first time watching this. I love the art style of this movie. Studio Ghibli did very well on the looks of this movie. I like the creative decisions they made with color in this movie as well. I don't know that much about art, so I don't know if I'm tweaking or not, but it seems like they gave the colors for the characters a little bit more saturation than the background themselves to make them really pop out and it looks really nice to me. Like, I really love the look of this movie and how they chose to use color. Like the animation style too. The characters are really expressive, and they clearly convey every emotion that these characters feel. Like when May first meets Granny, like the facial expressions show that she's nervous as hell, and you know, just like any little girl would show when they meet someone they don't really know like that. The facial expressions are perfect in this movie. The characters are so expressive, and they show the body language and all that shit. Like, it looks really good. The background looks really beautiful too. Like, the backgrounds in this movie are amazing. I think my favorite one is just the countryside look, like when they show Granny's farm. I don't know why I like it so much, honestly, but I just like the greens and the shades of green they use, and I just like the scenery of it in general. Like, it looks so cool. The music in this movie is amazing, boy. Like, the music in this movie is crazy. It really adds to the visual aesthetic that they was going for in the moment. Like, I especially love the little melody they play at the big tree when Totaro, well, like what Totaro is. That makes that scene much more beautiful. The same big tree that they visited when they talked to the spirit with their dad. I love that scene. Like, that's my favorite scene in the movie. There are a lot of good tracks in this movie, but that's definitely my favorite one by far. All in all, man, at the end of the day, Studio Ghibli made another movie that forced us to care about characters that we started with, while throwing these supernatural elements to spice up the story. And they tend to be really good at that. I've watched Ponyo, Spirited Away, and now this movie twice. And they really stick to their recipe and do it tremendously well, while changing things up to keep us engaged. Like, the crazy thing is that the movies, those three movies that I named, pretty much all follow the same recipe, but they're vastly different, and they're all interesting, all offer their own different things. I'm definitely gonna watch more of these, like 1000%. These shits never fail to make me smile, and a young nigga be needing that sometimes, bro. Young nigga be needing some wholesome shit. Cause I be watching shit like, you know, Promised Neverland, Summertime Rendering, that shit, you know, that can fuck you up sometimes. Give this movie a shot, man. It's definitely really good. Something simple to watch. It's kid friendly, so the whole family can watch it. It's something that you will enjoy, man. Studio Ghibli really never misses on that. Like, watch any of them. You can literally like just choose. Like, you can choose at random. Studio Ghibli is always gonna have something that's fairly impressive. So please give this a watch, man. My Neighbor Totaro is fucking amazing. Like, I know at first when I first watched this movie, because I still had that same stigma that, you know, this is for kids. Like, this really ain't gonna hit for me. This really ain't for me. Like, this really isn't made for me. But throw all that shit out the window, because that's just an unfair preconceived notion that you have about Studio Ghibli movies. Studio Ghibli movies, if they do one thing good, they will make you smile, and they will make you happy, and they will make you care about characters a lot. And you will feel something after watching a Studio Ghibli movie. They just be fucking adorable, bro. I'm sorry. Like, this nigga Totaro is my nigga, folks. Like, he ain't even real, but this is my nigga, folks. I fucking love Totaro. He's Studio Ghibli does a really good job at bringing these characters to life and like really making you like these people. But all in all, man, I think that's about it. So if you like the video, just make sure you hit the like, subscribe button. It really helps support the channel a lot. Hit the notification bell, know when I post. I'm starting to do a little longer videos. If you haven't noticed already, if you've been on my channel for a while, just trying to be real intricate and really do these pieces of media justice, because I know that I can make like these 9-minute videos and shit, crack jokes and shit, but I could do that and like actually give the respect that these pieces of media deserve, because these are really good shows and really good movies that I'm talking about. I swear, man, Studio Ghibli always finds a way to get a smile out of me, bro. I swear they do. Before I watched Spirited Away like a year or two ago, I always thought that the Studio Ghibli films were kind of like just for kids type shit, and I thought that I wouldn't get much like enjoyment out of watching them because they're not catered towards me. But now that I'm 4 movies in and I already rewatched 2 of them, I think that and I'm making this video, I think that I was pretty wrong about that. I ain't gonna lie. The movie is beautiful, man. Like, all these Studio Ghibli movies are beautiful from what I've seen so far. By the end of this video, I want to convince you that you should give this a chance. You know how we do things around here? Start off with the story. The story is pretty straightforward. So there's this fish named Ponyo that has a strong desire to see what's above the surface. And her father doesn't want her to see what's above the surface because he sees how the humans treat the ocean and where they live at. Ponyo sneaks to the surface anyway and meets the other half of our MC duo named Sosuke and likes him a lot. Her father quickly finds her and takes her back underwater as she breaks out again. This time she causes a huge flood because she messed up her father's magic elixir that was keeping the balance in the world. So the whole island that Sosuke stays on is flooding. While all this is happening, Ponyo is literally turned into a human because she licks Sosuke's cut from the first time that she was up there. She ingested human blood, so it partially turned her into a human. To stop the flood and get Ponyo's father's blessing, Sosuke and Ponyo has to complete this trial, like this whole big trial to save the island they're on and to get the father's blessing to get Ponyo to be able to stay with Sosuke for the rest of their lives. So that's story. Now it's time to get to the characters. Outside of the main character duo, Fujimoto, which is Ponyo's dad, I think I like him a lot. And it's surprising that I do. Like, once I thought about it, like thought about what he actually stands for and what he's actually trying to do throughout the story, I actually grown to like his character a whole lot. He's actually pretty realistic and a pretty like accurate representation of me if I have a daughter, like all bullshit aside. He just loves his little girl. He's very protective of her. And that's exactly, like, he just like me for real. That's exactly how I'm gonna be. He kind of has some preconceived notions about humans because of how they treat the oceans and how they treat their home, like Ponyo and Fujimoto's home. And he just doesn't want his precious daughter to get hurt. Like, that's pretty understandable. Like, I have no problems with his character. I actually like his character a lot. Like, he's a pretty underrated character. But now to the main duo. Ponyo's knight in shining armor is Sosuke. And to keep it really simple, he's just a really nice nigga, bro. Like, a super nice nigga. He treated Ponyo, like, well, even when she was just a fish. Like, he did that without even knowing that she was gonna turn into a human. He just liked Ponyo. And side note, like, I think Sosuke is really funny. Sosuke is a really funny nigga because, like, if you seen this movie, the scene where Ponyo sprays water on the girl on that new dress she got, bro, Sosuke got the fuck, oh boy, that shit was so fucking funny, boy. Like, Sosuke be getting out the gym. I really appreciate that about this nigga. He's just a really optimistic person, bro. He really cares. He just genuinely cares for people, and he's pretty, like, really smart, like I said. Ponyo's character is really simple. She's really all about Sosuke and everything that he loves. That's pretty much it. Really energetic, real hyper, kind of rebellious towards her father, but understandably if you sheltered a lot. I also like Ponyo's mom. Her ass a whole ass like sea goddess. Like, what the fuck? And she tall as hell for motherfuckers got big man contact done. She big as hell. But she cool as fuck. While her father was over there stressing about like Sosuke not being able to pass the trial because he's only like a 5-year-old, Ponyo mom over there like, well, what if he does? On some real super optimistic shit. Like, she could rule with an iron fist because her ass a whole ass deity, but she doesn't. Like, she's really cool and laid back. She shows love to Sosuke's mom in the end of the movie as well. Like, it's so cool. Like, she's such a cool ass character. I also like the old ladies from the nursing home. They're really good additions, and they're like kind of like the comedic relief. They're really nice to Sosuke and they funny as hell. Like, I love the old ladies at that nursing home. Now let's move on to looks and presentation. As usual, the people over at Studio Ghibli have created another beautiful and heartwarming movie full of beautiful scenes, full of color and creativity. There's a couple scenes that stand out to me in particular. The scene where Ponyo escapes her father the second time and all her sisters are helping her leave. There's all these gold colors and they swimming in this big ass spiral formation. And it's just, and they transforming into humans and back into fish. Like, it's so fucking beautiful. Like, it is so cool looking. Studio Ghibli be flexing sometimes, like, unnecessarily, and this is definitely one of those cases. This might be a weird one. When Ponyo first escaped and went to the surface to see what was up there, and she almost got scooped up by like the thing that's picking up all the trash. Cause I don't know why, but it just made me feel like, damn, we really don't take care of this motherfucker. Like, we really don't take care of the earth like we should. And they animated the fuck out of that garbage, bro. Like, that's another flex moment. Like, Studio Ghibli, bro, we get it. We get it. You have really good animation, bro. We understand. And any scene with Ponyo's mom in it, like they really give her grand entrances. Like she got some raw ass scenes when she just pulling up for like when she just existing. Like you know how I was talking about the scene where Ponyo like escapes the second time. That's all of her mom scenes. Like, it's all of them. Her scenes are like absolutely beautiful. At the end of the day, you really can't go wrong with Studio Ghibli movies, man. At least from what I've seen so far. And I've seen Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo, and My Neighbor Totoro. You really can't go wrong with Studio Ghibli movies. They're always beautiful experiences. Ponyo offers a beautiful experience with a sweet, simple, and heartwarming story that's guaranteed to force a smile out of you. If you don't smile watching this, you're fucking crazy. Like, this movie is, like, beautiful as hell. And my thoughts before that this is only for kids, like, yeah, it's catered towards family, and it's really, like, tame as far as story goes. Like, no really deep story elements or nothing like that. But I don't think it needs to be. Like, the story is still good. Even though it's simple, it's still good and really effective the way they did it. And the characters have some depth to them. Like, the characters definitely had depth to them. As I speak for the movies that, like Ponyo in particular, and the movies that I've seen so far, Studio Ghibli movies are them. Like, they them, folk. They're really good. Story wise, it may not be the most like complex and super detailed story, but it's good. Like, it's still really good. Studio Ghibli always does a really good job at creating the characters that you can like. And Sosuke and Ponyo are really likable. Fujimoto isn't likable, like, at a first glance, but as you watch the movie and understand, like, as you think about his character for real, at least from a man's perspective, like, if I have a daughter, I'm gonna be just like that nigga. Like, all jokes aside, like, I'm really gonna be protective of my baby girl. Like, that's just how it is. But Fujimoto's a really likable character. The old ladies are definitely likable. Like, they're funny as hell. Like, I'm telling you, for when you watch this movie, you're gonna laugh at them at least once or twice. But all in all, man, this is a really good movie, and I really think that you should watch it. And I hope this video and these clips that I put on the screen, like, kind of convince you to go check it out if you haven't. Like, and go check out all the Studio Ghibli movies. I'm probably gonna make videos on a couple more of them at least, if not all the ones that I watch. These movies are really good, and they're really good at getting feeling out of you, and that feeling is usually happiness. Like, 9 times out of 10 is usually happiness. I heard this one sad one, and I'll watch it. Like, I'm gonna watch it. But so far, I've seen like really positive, really heartwarming, happy shit coming from these movies. And that's something that you need every once in a while. Something nice, a little wholesome, just for y'all to watch.
Since my Afro Samurai video is currently a copyright limbo, and I'm not even gonna try to cover that movie if the show gave me that much hell, I decided to watch something chill or relaxing to make me forget about the 8 consecutive hours I spent trying to get that video out. So I looked down my list and chose to check out Patema Inverted. And it was a good watch for sure, but I'd be lying if I didn't say this movie didn't put my brain into a fight with Matt from Wii Sports. This was the second movie that successfully beat my ass, with the first being Your Name. I'm not relaxed at all. My brain is still trying to figure out the physics, and I watched this movie like 4 hours ago. But pull up a chair, let's chop it up. We're gonna try to do our best and talk about Patema Inverted. So, you know how we do things around here. First, we start off with the story. So, the story is pretty unique in this one. It's a pretty nice switch up from what I've been watching recently, along with a pretty unexpected concept, so honestly speaking, I really enjoyed this one. Our story follows a girl named Patema who lives underground. She frequently visits this place called the Danger Zone in hopes to carry out her friend Lagos' dream, which is making a bridge between the different worlds. One day she's chased by this being they call a Batman. Nah, I'm dead ass, a Batman. And she cartoonishly falls into the Minecraft void. She ends up falling into this inverted world and meeting this boy named Age, who's an inhabitant of this world. She ends up almost falling down into the sky, but Age saves her and keeps her hidden for a while. Age is an inhabitant of Igo, which is a place where they're taught that the sky is some evil place and that inverters aren't even human beings, even though they kind of look like them. Age doesn't believe any of that bullshit though, and he just tries to help her get back home, but she's captured by this nigga Gravity Jim Crow. That's his name for this entire video, and the rest is him trying to save her. That's pretty much the premise of the movie. I like how this story is executed, I'm not gonna lie. It's a rescue and rebel type story, but we really don't know much about why things are the way they are. But as Patema and Age grow closer and spend more time together, it creates more conflict and tension until they finally just rip the band-aid off and bring it all together. It's pretty cool. The twists in this shit were pretty decent, I'm not gonna lie. Finding out that it was Gravity Jim Crow talking to Lagos in the beginning was actually pretty cool on the second watch. I was wondering why they showed us that at first. It also showed us that Lagos actually orchestrated a lot of this because he believed in Patema so much. It was actually a cool touch too. The way Age found out his father died was wild, I'm not gonna lie. All his ass wanted to do was fly and got his ass quickscope right out the sky. Gravity Jim Crow already hinted at the fact that it wasn't an accident earlier on in the movie. I'm not gonna lie. They would have had to shoot my ass personally. Otherwise, the Jim Crow laws would have ended right there. The city in the sky was really cool too. I love how they handled everything about it. The reveal was raw as hell. The shit was beautiful. The scene was really gorgeous. Them revealing that Patema's bag was there that she dropped earlier when she first met Age was really cool. And then they showed Age like staring at something. And they showed Age's dad's little flying machine. That was great too. That was a really good reveal. It made Age happy because it made him feel like that his dad's work got to a destination that no one else could see but his son if he believed in him. Finding out that this is all because of a dumbass gravity experiment damn near blew me, because a lot of these people are born into this inverted slander and this inverted discrimination, and they couldn't do anything about it, and it's not even their fault. It's wild. The final twist is my favorite, of course, because it literally and figuratively flips the story on its head. Finding out that the niggas underground aren't the actual inverted niggas was wild, because them dudes up there was mad racist. To the point where like they were treated like animals, folks. Sounds familiar actually, now that I think about it. Speaking of races, being discriminated against just because you upside down is some insane shit. Think about that, gang. Like, how did Gravity Jim Crow even become an authority figure? Ain't no way you look at a picture of somebody right side up and be like, man, that's a cool dude right there. And then they turn the picture upside down. Now you like, man, folks, that's a bitch. Like, what, bro? Excuse me? Bro, imagine if I was down there. Gang, I'm fucked. I'm upside down and black. Yeah, that's raps, gang. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now these niggas up here trying to trade me for 3 upside down cattle and 2 upside down sheep, bro. That's wild. I'm not even gonna lie to you. If you want to enjoy this movie, do not think about the physics. That shit is gonna cook you. You know the memes where it's like high folks in the hoodie and he asking them high questions? That was me the whole time, bro. That was me the whole movie. I'm over here like, gee, if Age and Patema had a kid, would they have to meet in the middle to raise it? Or if they fall in love and they both say they down for each other, don't that technically mean that they're drifting apart and going separate ways? Like, bro, my brain was tweaking this entire time. Unless you try to tweak out, do not watch this under the influence of marijuana. I do not recommend it. All in all, the story was pretty fire though. Once again, I enjoyed it simply because of the concept and how they used it. It was very unique. I think you'll definitely appreciate it since it's not like gimmicky. It's actually smoothly integrated into the actual story, which makes sense the whole way through. It's pretty impressive. Now let's move on to characters and character interactions. I'm not gonna lie, this joint only got like 6 notable characters, so we might as well talk about all of them. Patema and Age are actually a pretty good main duo. They both had like a father or father figure who was extremely ambitious and adventurous, and clearly it rubbed off on both of them. They're both extremely compassionate when it comes to each other. I'm not gonna lie, grimy nigga like me would have said nah and left folks ass on upside down block or right side up block. Nah, I'm just playing. Both of their lives are pretty rough, gang. Age life kinda ass. Bro go to school for citizenship. Like, bro, what kind of bullshit is this? His father got killed for being ambitious and they want him dead for the same thing. Like, that's wild. Patema's father died at a young age and she literally seen Lagos dead right in front of her when she was captured. Like, that's really sick. They both found refuge in each other though, which is dope. They relate to each other and they love each other, and it don't matter who's inverted or not, they always gonna care for each other, which is always a sweet thing, so I fuck with it. And they actually pretty much accomplished Age's father and Lagos' goal too, which is raw too. They did it pretty much indirectly because I don't think that was their actual goal. I just think that them being close together brought them to this solution, which was raw. That's actually a really raw thing. Shout out Porter for being a good sport. He definitely got TYB by Nick. Inverted, but he played it cool. He played it cool the entire time for it, and you always appreciate that, for. Hats off to my boy Porter. The Elder definitely helped out. Don't get me wrong, he helped out, but I'm not liking the vibes he's giving up. He seemed too rule heavy, and he seemed like he gave up on his people a little too easy. If he really cared about Patema, like he showed in the beginning, if Patema was really important to him, he would have put a little bit more effort into trying to find her. I'm not gonna lie to you. Gravity Jim Crow was a bitch. That's all I have to say about him. Next, shout out to my boy Soldier76 for realizing that this whole thing was stupid. He definitely bogus as hell for killing Aiden's dad, but he definitely tried to redeem himself. And he ended up saving the day and being an unlikely hero in this story, which was actually a really great touch. I really enjoyed the characters they gave us. It's not many, but they were all pretty vital and significant to the story, so I don't mind the small cast at all. And the voice actors all did a really good job. Shout out to all of y'all. Let's move on to looks, presentation, and music. This movie looks really good. There's a lot of beautiful ass shots in this movie, and the whole like switching in between ages and Patema's perspective thing when they were in each other's worlds was a really good touch. I see y'all. Don't think I didn't notice. I see y'all. Good job on that. The animators did a really good job on this, man. This was really well made, and you could tell there was a lot of care put in this, so shout out to y'all. The music was really good in this too. The orchestral pieces in these movies never fail to make things feel like grand and never fail to like get emotion out of people. The song, the ending theme during the final sequence is really good, man. I really like the music in this movie. Y'all did a really good job on this. Shout out to the team and the artists that worked on this. Overall, I think Patema Inverted is a really great watch. It's nothing like anything I've ever seen before, and it takes anime storytelling and flips it on its head, literally. I know I use it already, bro. Leave me alone. It's a cool movie that explores concepts like prejudice and ambition, but in a very unexpected way. This is a really creative way to do this, and I appreciate how they thought outside the box with this one. It's something that I would definitely recommend sober, and it's something that is just chill. I think everyone can enjoy. If you're a fan of the Ghibli movies, this isn't too far-fetched from that, so go watch it and enjoy it.
So we all know that Studio Ghibli makes some amazing movies by now, right? I mean, there's Ponyo, a supernatural tale of love and togetherness with some beautiful scenes. Spirited Away, a supernatural tale of love and togetherness, and with some very colorful and abstract environments with some beautiful scenes. My Neighbor Totaro, a supernatural being that promotes and helps implements the idea of love and togetherness with some beautiful scenes. And today we have probably my favorite movie of the series, which is Howl's Moving Castle, which is, you get the point, right? Not to say that they all the same, but you can take away some of the same messages from all of them. And it's not a bad thing, of course. Has it been 15 seconds yet? It has to. Bro, this shit is goated, bro. I fucking love Howl's Moving Castle. I love this movie. I think this is my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, Phil. But I'm not going to hold y'all too much in the intro, so let's talk about it. You know how we do things around here? Start off with story. So, our story in this movie follows this really quiet hat maker named Sophie. One day she was just trying to go visit her sister or some shit, and she meets this wizard named Howl after he gets her out of his jam that she was in. The same night, she returns back home and she meets the Wicked Witch of the Waste. And can we take a moment to look at this bitch neck? My fucking God, she look like she swallowed a goddamn NFL neck pad. She got an FDA certified 33% lean, 67% fat, Sudanese Wagyu steak in her shit. Dunkin' Donut neck ass, Tutu neck ass, 7-Up cake neck ass. Her ass built like a baby bottle pop. Juicy fruit neck ass. Jesus Christ, oh, she bogus as hell. My bad, I got off track. But anyway, the witch leaves a curse on her, and now she's an old woman, and she can't tell anyone about her curse. That's like the stipulations for her curse. While she's leaving the town, she meets this scarecrow, and this scarecrow leads her to Howl's Moving Castle. And she sneaks in and tells them that she's their cleaning lady. Howl is cool with it. She gets to stay. She also meets a fire demon here called Calicer. Hold on. How do you pronounce his name? Calcifer. That's what it is. There we go. Named Calcifer and Marco, which might be his son. I'm not totally sure. I think I read something that said that Howl picked up Marco from an orphanage. I think he's an orphan that Howl's again, which is pretty cool. So the premise of this movie is basically Howl's trying to gain some courage and stop this major war, which I didn't realize that it was happening when I first watched this. I can't believe I didn't pay attention. I didn't realize that Howl was like in the middle of it too, since he's such a talented wizard. And Sophie is trying to lift her curse. I'm not going to explain the whole plot so you can watch it for yourself. We'll do something a little different from my previous videos. I'm going to highlight a few of my favorite scenes. I'm going to probably do this from now on. This one may not seem that important, but the scene where Howl is like throwing a temper tantrum and tweaking out because his hair color has changed is a fire ass scene to me. It shows us that Howl isn't this like super perfect being, and I think that's super dope. Usually in anime, they don't show off flaws too much in like the really cool characters, so it's a nice change of pace for me personally. I also like the scene where Sophie is talking to Suzume, and when she asks question about how you can see her, like her age reversing, her curse reversing, and she's going back to her younger self, and you can see as she's talking about Howl and how like passionate she's talking about him, her curse is reversing like in the process. It's so cool. I like the little hint of detail and little hint that they showed of how to break her curse. It was a really cool moment right there. The scene where Sophie and the witch going up the stairs, bro. My nigga, that shit funny as fuck, fool. Look at the witch, fool. She's sweaty as hell, fool. Gee, I ain't never said old big ass so much on bro, fool. I ain't gonna lie. I was legit in tears when I watched this the second time again. For the first time, I really like realized like how funny it was. But let's move on to the next section, which is characters and character interactions. Some cool ass characters. Sophie's very fun. I love her character. She's really likable. It's like she damn near meant to be an old lady because she slipped into that role perfectly after she got cursed. I really like her as the main figure. She's funny, she's caring, she's sweet, she's pretty fearless, and she ride or dies for the people that she loves, and I fuck with that for sure. I always love that quality in the character. Howl is really cool. Howl's great character. He's a little dramatic ass nigga, but it's cool that they showed how human and flawed he is. He's still an amazing and likable character even throughout those moments. He's a super talented wizard that's in a very unfortunate situation because of his talents. He has to bear kind of like a super crazy burden to keep the structure in his life. He's definitely one of my favorite characters in this movie. He has a really good background story that you can like look up on. Like it's really cool how they explain him. Calcifer is really cool too. He's a big part of the comedy in this movie, and he's like the thing that keeps the house moving, so he's actually a pretty important figure in it. I really appreciate the funny little dynamic that he brings to the household, and I like that how they uncover him and Hal's connection. I liked how they uncovered that. Marco's cool too. He's just a chill little kid. Like he doesn't act too adult for his age. Like he's just a kid living in some real weird circumstances, but making the best of them. And I love that disguise, gang. I love that disguise. That disguise is funny as hell. Every time you put that bitch on, I just chuckle. And I like him and Hal's relationship. It seems like it's a father-son thing going on, but there's a mutual respect there. I kind of like it. I don't know what the Scarecrow's name is, so I'm just calling what Sophie calls him. Turnip is cool as hell. He's the coolest stick he's the coolest stick in any piece of media I've ever seen in my life. How much that means, I'll say. And fuck that witch, I'm not gonna lie. I hope that diabetes eat her goof ass up. Even though like they kind of cool with her at the end. But next we're gonna go over looks, presentation, and music. I really like the visuals in this movie. A lot of small stuff in here that I appreciate a lot, like the movement animation for the castle itself, the movement for the battleships, how expressive the characters are, all the colors that's used in the flower scene when Howl shows Sophie that flower field, how balanced the color palette is for the whole movie, the scene with Suzume and how the water came up and they had all those visual elements creating this cool ass scene. Also, a part that I didn't write down in the script about that scene, that music in that scene where like she's trying to show Sophie Howl's true form, that music is phenomenal. I know I wrote in the script that this music wasn't as memorable as other Studio Ghibli films, and I think I'm wrong on that. Like I think I'm absolutely wrong on that, because that track in particular and the fucking song for the outro, like the end credit song, Jesus Christ, those songs are fire, folks. So I'm gonna just shut my stupid ass up. What else do I like? I like Hal's actual form, Hal's actual transformation. Like I don't know if that's his curse form. Like I don't know if the curse does that for him, or if that's just like his wizardry. But I actually like his transformation and his form is really cool. I actually like the scenes where Hal's actually fighting. Like Studio Ghibli don't really do that many like battle scenes as far as action scenes go. So I think they did a really good job with those. I think that they really did a good job, because Studio Ghibli really don't show fighting like that in any of these films. So I think that's really cool. It's a lot of raw ass shit in this movie, gang. I'm really glad I was able to catch more of it the second time that I watched it, to be honest with you. And I think this is a movie that you'll appreciate more and more as you watch it, because I think this is my third time now, because I had to watch the first watch, second watch to take notes, and then the third watch to get footage. So I think the more and more you watch this, the more details you pick up, and the more you actually like realize the little details in it, and you will appreciate them more and more. Like I said, I wrote down in the script that the music is not as memorable as other movie soundtracks, but as my second watch ended, I realized like, damn, I don't know what I'm talking about, so that's wild. I'll just be quiet. So I think they really nailed it with the scenery and the animation in this movie for sure. They blessed my eyes. Thank you, Studio Ghibli, for this shit for sure. I think there's certain scenes that pop out so much. All of the night scenes, like seeing her hometown at night, them flying in that little like contraption, getting back home to Howl's castle, like that's so cool. The scene where Howl's actually transforming the house, when he said they were moving that moving day thing, that scene was beautiful. The flower scene is gorgeous. Like that door that leads to like that showed Hal's childhood and how him and Calcifer, I got it right, Calcifer like bonded and shit. It had that little agreement. That scene is gorgeous. It's a lot of like really over animated, high quality scenes in this, and I mean over animated in a good way. Like they didn't have to do this type shit, and they could have cut corners and I'll be perfectly fine. Even little things like in the beginning where the train is going over under the bridge, and all the smoke was popping up and they animated the fuck out of the smoke. Like I don't know, they make shit look so realistic in this movie. The scenery, the doors, the way the doors open and close. I'm sorry, that's a little crazy little detail to pay attention to, but it just looks good. Like I love the way this movie looks. I feel like they really got in their bag with their creativity with this one, and I really fuck with it. Like it's Studio Ghibli did a great job on this movie, story wise and visual wise and auditory wise. Like I love everything about this movie. I really have no complaints about it. If you haven't already watched this, definitely get this a watch, 1000%. This shit is phenomenal. It's a great watch for sure. I recommend this movie to people that don't watch anime too. I think you will definitely get some enjoyment out of this film as well. You don't have to watch anime to enjoy Studio Ghibli films. Like, I think that's a misconception about them. Like, yeah, they're anime, technically. Yes, they are. But you don't have to watch anime to get enjoyment out of these films. Like, you can watch them as much as like anime fans can watch them. Like, you will enjoy it just as much as they will.
It's funny that the first time I seen clips of The Boy and the Beast was from an AMV of a Jaden Smith song like 4 years ago. And since then, I've been telling myself that I was going to watch this movie. Well, it's been a long time coming. I finally watched it, and I'm not disappointed at all. This ended up being a pretty interesting movie with a surprising amount of depth to it, at least more than I anticipated initially. I thought this movie was just going to be like Ren and Kumatatsu, or whatever his name is, relationship as a student and a master, and father and son, but The Boy and the Beast had a way broader focus than I thought it would. So without further ado, let's chop it up and talk about it. So we're gonna start off with the story. So we're gonna do a quick rundown of the movie, and then I'll talk about my favorite parts of it. Our story follows a 9-year-old runaway boy named Ren who ran away after his mother died and his father abandoned him. Since he's a child in the middle of Tokyo by himself, of course he's constantly pursued by police and harassed since he's, a runaway child. One night he's approached by this man with this bear-like appearance named Kumatetsu. Kumatetsu is a beast currently in the human world looking for a disciple so he could be eligible to fight and become the Grand Master. He asks Ren does he want to go with him in the animal world. He declines, I think he ends up following him anyway. The animal world is just how it sounds. It's full of humanoid-like animals. In this world, humans are frowned upon because they have this thing called the darkness that can consume them if they're not careful. He's found by a really cool monk named Hiyakashubo. That wasn't that bad. All right. And eventually meets up with Kumatetsu, and he goes on with him. But they argue and he runs away. Next day, he watches Kumatetsu get into a fight with the other Grandmaster candidate named Miyozen. He notices during the fight that Kumatetsu is actually pretty strong, but he also realizes that no one in the crowd was cheering for him, making him realize that they're very much alike. They're both alone. After his loss, Ren agrees to become his disciple if he trains him and helps him get stronger. My favorite moment in this sequence is Ren's mom telling him that he needs to become Kumatetsu, and he copied him to the point where he learned his movements without looking at him, which is really cool. This eventually leads them to train together. They train each other. Since Ren has the talent of reading movements, he teaches Kumatetsu how to evade, while Kumatetsu teaches Ren how to use a sword and punch. In this sequence, 8 years go past, and we see a fully grown-up Ren. And after an argument, he eventually goes back to the human world and tries to catch back up with his studies. He meets this girl named Kaide in a library, and he saves her from this altercation outside the library. And I ain't gonna cap, I'm really glad she met this nigga, dog, because he was reading like that slow nigga I would pick on during popcorn reading for. That shit was funny as hell. She agrees to tutor him in return for saving him. We see that Ren tries to go back to somewhat a normal life. He has an identity crisis, though, leading him to lash out on his dad and return to the beast world. And here we are at the final showdown between Kumatatsu and Iyozen. Kumatatsu ends up winning because of Ren's support, but Iyozen's son had other ideas because he tried to smoke that nigga. This eventually leads to a big fight between Ren and his son. I don't have his name written down, and it's pretty complicated anyway, so I'm gonna just say Iyozen's son. And this emotional ass climax that ends in Ren's victory. At the end of it all, he's leaving the beast world for good, living a normal human life. When I first seen clips of this movie, I was just convinced that this movie was just gonna be fighting and getting stronger, and them incorporating Ren's desire to live a normal human life and creating that conflict of interest made this film actually stand out quite a bit. And seeing him actually go back to the human world and put up effort to actually try to go to college and see his dad was actually pretty satisfying. This movie isn't as straightforward as I thought it was, and I think the characters really help push the narrative along in a very entertaining way. Now, speaking of characters, let's move on to characters and character interactions. I think the main duo carry in this movie. And I think Kade's a really good character too. She's a really great contributor to the film as well. But I think this movie is written in a way that it's supposed to be like that. But that doesn't mean there aren't any good characters besides them. They just don't get that much screen time. And those two get the most screen time together overall. Ren is a great character that gets a lot of development in a short amount of time. He starts the movie as this little badass, little rebellious ass little boy for a good reason though. I'm not gonna sit here and cap and act like I don't get why he was like that. His mom died and his dad abandoned him. But he turns into a very mature and very strong male figure that goes out to protect others by the end of it. His inner dilemma with himself is a great touch too. He doesn't feel like he fits in the human world because he was essentially raised by beasts at this point, but he doesn't fit in the beast world either because they already have these preconceived notions about humans and the darkness that's within them. At the end of the day, his morals and motives are very clear, and he just doesn't want to be alone. That's really all he wants. He just wants to do what's right, doesn't want to be alone. He wants to have a normal life. That's all he wants in the story. His master, Kumatetsu, is actually a really great character as well. He's pretty stubborn, but at the end of the day, he always looks out for Ren. Even though they argue a lot, there's a lot of love behind all that dysfunction. And you can see that he actually enjoys being around Ren when it seems like they completely hate each other. Just like Ren, he was all alone as a shorty too, and the current Grand Master was the only one that would put up with him. He wants to be what he didn't have as a kid to Ren, because Ren is in a similar position that he was in. And just like Ren, he doesn't want to be alone either, even though he limits how much he shows his vulnerability. You can see how much he loves Ren though, through his sacrifice in the end. I like how they alluded to the sword in your heart line earlier on when he was trying to teach him. It was really cool to see that actually become, like, he actually became a sword in Ren's heart. That was actually pretty cool and a pretty nice touch. And he got his wish in the end. He now lives on as a part of Ren, so neither one of them will ever be alone again, which is a really nice thing, all things considered. Kaede is super likable to me, mainly because of her motives. She's always lived for her parents, getting good grades and really doing the best in school to the point where she's become invisible to her parents. She's vowed to herself that when she gets into college, she's gonna live for herself and find her own purpose. She's also super supportive to Ren and kind of like the angel on his shoulder. When Ren was tweaking, she was there to bring him back down to reality, and she even stuck by his side during that big ass fight. She definitely wild as hell, because I'm definitely running if shit like that is going down around me. But this just only shows to her devotion to Ren and his well-being more. At the end of the day, she stuck by him to the very end of this crazy ass conflict. Plus, she's the reason he's able to work towards school since she was his tutor the whole time. What he was supposed to be, here go the name, Ichirohiko. There we go, Ichirohiko. He was actually a pretty good character. It was kind of surprising to see him turn out that way. It was actually kind of a good twist. Since he was the one that protected Ren from his brother when his brother was bullying him, it was kind of wild to see him end up on that side of the spectrum. You can kind of tell he was human though. Nigga just had a hat on trying to fit in. Like, nigga, I ain't no goofy. You got a cowhide beanie. But seeing that he was just like Ren was actually pretty cool. And seeing what Ren could have been through his character was actually a really pleasant surprise. He low-key the first nigga I seen in anime with a dad complex. It's kind of wild. His brother Jiromaru is cool as hell. It's crazy because you would think that him and his brother would actually like trade places, but Jiromaru is actually a really good friend of Ren. And regardless of the outcome of the Grandmaster fight, they vowed to be friends anyway. They made the promise before the fight even happened. I actually, underrated character, I like Totaro a lot because it took him the longest to come around because he was the main one that wanted Ren gone from the beginning. I always suggested that Kumatetsu should take him back to the human world. Even at the end of the movie, the nigga was kind of like, and fuck that nigga. But that's still my boy though. Old type shit. Like I love Totaro's little character. I like his little character development he gets. All the characters are pretty enjoyable in this movie, and they all have some significance to the story. None of them feel wasted, which is always nice. I would say they did a pretty good job with the character writing in this movie. Thank you to all the voice actors once again. You all did a great job with your performances. Now, let's move on to looks, presentation, and music. The looks in this movie aren't really anything to complain about. I often say that we've been spoiled by Ufotable, Mappa, and Wish Studio, raising our expectations for animation and for everything and making us like take some good looking shit for granted. I feel like this is one of those things. This movie has some very clean animation. The fights between Yozen and Kumatetsu look really good and really smooth. All the movements are clearly animated. The facial expressions are clearly animated. The people are very expressive. The characters are very expressive. I also enjoy the art style. It kind of like reminds me of the old Japanese art style for some reason. I have no idea why. The music isn't the greatest. Maybe because I wasn't paying close enough attention. I usually watch these movies on my music setup with my studio monitors and my subwoofer. But I watched this one in my bed, so that could be the reason. But even so, even if the music isn't the most memorable, I'm not complaining. It just makes me focus on the story and the characters more. So no complaints here. Thank you to all the animators, artists, composers, and Foley artists that worked on this. All the building blocks for this movie were definitely on point. Y'all all did a really good job with this. Not bad for a movie I found out about because of an AMV video for a Jaden Smith song. But in all seriousness, The Boy and the Beast was a really fun watch. Seeing our main duo argue and grow with each other was very enjoyable and entertaining. Also seeing Ren's personal growth was satisfying too. This is another movie the whole family could watch and any anime fan could watch no matter how deep you are in anime. You will definitely enjoy this. It's a chill watch that I recommend. And it's an easy watch. The story isn't too complex. You don't gotta be super locked in. You don't gotta lean in like it's 5-5, round 11 in the Call of Duty match. It's like a easy to pick up and play. And if you haven't watched it and you got some extra time, go give it a shot. It's a really good movie. Hey, it's been a little minute since I've been in my romance drama bag. Before we start this video, I would like to say, shout out to folks with the gum. He's really a go for real. So by now, I pretty much watch all the super known drama type movies. I've watched Your Name, Weather With You, A Silent Voice, and now the subject of this video, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Still crazy when I say it, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably the one I heard the least about, and besides me still recovering from that GDS Attack on Titan video, that's probably the reason I've been putting this off for like the last week. But now that I finally watched this, I think as far as story goes and the way that they approach storytelling in this, it's up there with Your Name. And I know that's crazy, but hear me out. Gang, this movie has everything that you would want out of one of these movies. It has comedy, heartwarming moments, heartbreaking moments, valuable life perspectives and philosophies, and a crazy amount of symbolism and foreshadowing that I can't wait to talk about. So, pull up a chair, let's chop it up. So, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas was cool, I guess. But before we get into it, as always, make sure you like the subscribe button for more anime analysis and review videos just like this one, and hit the notification bell to know about future posts. Alright, so you know how we do things around here. First, we start off with the story. Like I said in the intro, I genuinely think that this story is genius and it can be put up there with the likes of Your Name in my opinion, strictly because of how much the story rewards you for paying attention to it. Our story follows an antisocial boy named Haruki, who's pretty much like lived his entire life in his own bubble, not letting anybody in while never stepping out to really interact with people. One day he's in this hospital, he picks up this book titled Living with Dying, and he reads the first page, and it's from this perspective of someone with an illness. This girl from his class named Sakura reveals that it's hers and just straight out said that she's gonna die soon. Him not being a people person, he just didn't think that much of it and just went about his business, just moving on. He was like, okay, here's your book back.
Well, damn.
After a bit of perseverance though, and a bit of like kind of forcing them, she eventually gets him to hang out with her. And throughout the movie, they essentially grow closer together and hang out until she eventually meets her demise, which is crazy. It's a setup. I'm telling y'all now, this movie is a setup. If you can't tell already, this movie can get pretty emotional. There are several moments in this movie that I almost got my goofy ass, so let's run through some. There are several examples of this throughout the movie, but every time they talk about her eventual death or acknowledge her illness in a comical way, it's pretty rough. It starts off funny as hell, and then you get that weight of the situation, and you start thinking about the possibility that like she's acting like this to cover up her fear of death. And that ha immediately turns into damn, gang. Like, it's really crazy. And it makes it even worse when she does it after they reveal that that's actually the case, it makes it 10 times worse. Speaking of them revealing that, the hotel room scene was pretty rough. For 2 reasons. First, this is where Sakura really showed how she felt about dying, and it showed Haruki going through her bag and finding all those syringes and pills and shit. And second, this is where Haruki really started to show interest in her and learn more about her. In the Truth or Dare game they was playing, every time she picked Truth, he asked a bunch of deep ass questions about her out of genuine curiosity. And besides their experiences together, this is where he learned most about her as a person. It's honestly hard to watch this change of heart because of the inevitable that's about to happen. There are several instances of this as well, but you can kind of see Sakura pry at the idea of wanting a relationship with Haruki, and you always see Haruki trying to change the subject or just brush it off when you know, like, if the circumstances were different, he probably would be in a relationship with her and it probably would go differently. That's a really rough situation for both sides. Haruki has never had a friend before or a girlfriend. Making her both and then losing her is an awful reality to face, so I think he's trying to avoid that. And on top of that, her best friend hates the nigga, and her ex literally minked this nigga for coming to her house. So I would, I don't blame him. And for Sakura, being loved by the only person that brings her some sense of normalcy and peace of mind while she's going through this is pretty natural. But knowing that you won't be here that long will probably make you, make the idea of you being selfish just go into your head. So it's probably internal conflict going on while all this is going on. Now let's talk about the ending sequence. Man, the ending sequence was sad as hell, but it was fire. This is where all the symbolism and foreshadowing come in perfectly. First off, on the way to that cafe, he meets the GOAT one more time. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about my nigga, folks with the gum. And this time, Haruki actually wanted a piece. I think this is really cool. This is a super cool way to show how much Haruki has evolved as a person and how much Sakura has helped him change. Him sending her that last text was a pretty cool moment too, I ain't gonna lie. This is where the setup starts sinking in though, cause he changed the text and I was like, hey gang, don't do what I think you about to do.
Don't change it till I want to eat your pancreas. God damn. Come on, folks.
And he did it, so I always wondered before watching this why they chose the name for the movie like this, because I want to eat your pancreas is kind of weird.
The last text was I want to eat your pancreas, folks.
But I get it now. That line means so much in this movie. Not only does it refer to the article that Sakura was reading about, eating parts that you want healed, but it's also a symbol of their relationship and their way of saying they aspire to be like each other, which is a beautiful way to do it. But this sweet little moment did not last very long. And that setup had to come back. Finding out that Sakura died was rough, man. And it almost got me, gang. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely had that little feeling in my chest. Some tears wanted to come out, but I did not let them out, you feel me? It's worse finding out how she died too. Her getting stabbed was definitely not on the bingo card, even after they was talking about the stabbings that happened early on in the movie. It was not on the bingo card. And finding out that her time got cut even shorter was sad as shit. It also didn't help seeing his reaction to it. It got really heartbreaking when he visited her house and got her journal from her mother. Leaving that little Prince book by her picture was sad as hell. Man, that farewell note, man. I already seen that one farewell note from Plastic Memories, man. I'm still not recovered from that all the way, but man, this one was rough too. The execution was beautiful though, man. This is where we found out why they never use each other's names too. Throughout the movie, I was wondering why they haven't said his name yet, and I'm just thinking yo, who is this nigga? When he actually told it to her, they didn't actually tell us what his name was. Turns out, he never called Sakura by name either. He used him not calling Sakura by name as a defensive mechanism. It was a way to not let her in, a way to avoid getting hurt. And she did the same thing to him in retaliation. And to end off the note, she uses the phrase, I want to eat your pancreas, for that shit was beautiful, man. And bro, him asking her mother if it's okay to cry was just rough. This whole scene was beautiful, but man, it was really hard to watch. But I love how they did it. And I love how Haruki expected her and her mom's wishes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, after Kyoko has literally hated this nigga and even threatened to kill him throughout the story a couple times, they finally have a conversation and it doesn't end well. She storms out the cafe, but he chases after her. He asks her to forgive him, and actually he asks her if they could be friends one day. Then fast forward to reveal them both sitting at Sakura's gravesite a year later, and they also reveal that Kyoko and folks with the gum are dating after she threw Haruki a piece of gum. Shouts out to folks with the gum, folks. Shouts out to my nigga, folks. And they're on the way to Sakura's house to have dinner with their mom, because that was one of her mom's wishes, which was really cool. The conclusion was so fire to me because that was really Sakura's dying wish. She wanted him and Kyoko to get along, and he made sure that they did, even after all that bullshit she was on with him. I love the story overall in this movie. It was really rewarding and engaging. I have nothing but good things to say about it. Now, move on to characters and character interactions. Although this movie only had like 6 characters, I'm not gonna lie. It did everything it needed to do plus more through these 6 characters. Let's run through a few of them. Haruki is a really good and relatable character. My nigga had it tough, bro. And honestly speaking, after Sakura's death, it probably would have took me longer than a year to recover from that shit. He could have easily looked at this situation in a different way too. Because although her company and hanging out with her was very enjoyable, it seemed to bring him a lot of unnecessary drama with her best friend and her weird-ass ex-boyfriend. But he stayed solid that whole time, and it was really cool to see him grow as a person. He had a really relatable philosophy on people in the beginning too. He was telling Sakura that he was cool with letting his friendships and his relationships start and end in his head as long as he doesn't get hurt. And I feel him to a certain degree. Although pain is part of life, you can tell that pain through people is something that he thought that was like completely optional until he met Sakura. Sakura really changed his perspective on things. And it was through her death that he learned that he should live like her and have those relationships and interact with people to the fullest extent, because unfortunately she didn't have the time to. I'm pretty sure he would rather learn this lesson in a different way with Sakura still being here, but I bet he's thankful for the memories of her too and the lessons that he taught him. I like Haruki's character a lot, and watching him develop was almost like looking in the mirror of some sort. It was pretty fire, I'm not gonna lie. Sakura was a really strong character too, because you can only imagine what life was like for her. Acting like you're okay and fully happy when you're about to die gotta be some of the most difficult shit to deal with. And I couldn't imagine like my brain during that time. And it's not to that extent, but I could definitely vibe with her. You know all those memes about the funny friend after the squad get offline, it's just Spider-Man just sitting in the rain looking sad as hell? That's damn near me for real, I ain't even gonna lie. Putting on the front when something is wrong is it's like super unhealthy, but it seems necessary because you might be looked at as a light to other people, so you feel like you have to keep that up for them. That's kind of how Sakura was in this movie. She was the carefree, always smiling, always vocal and standing up for what she thinks is right person. And that's probably why she kind of took refuge in the front like Haruki, because he didn't treat her any different even after learning her condition. She probably had times when she wanted to completely fall apart, and I don't blame her, gang. She met a real untimely end, and she deserved way better, but I'm glad she still lives on through Haruki, and I'm glad about how much impact she had on him. Their relationship was beautiful. Look, I understand Kyoko is her best friend and she's very protective of her. She understands that she loves hard and all that shit, but I'm not gonna lie, Kyoko is a pretty shitty person this whole movie. She constantly just straight up bullied Haruki for no reason. I can see if Haruki like clearly gave her a reason to treat him like shit, but folks was just cooling the entire time. Kyoko didn't have a reason to hate and dick rat that much, just being honest. She was super irrational, and honestly, shout out to Haruki for being understanding through all that. Now understand that she was grieving and stuff, especially at the end when he showed her the book. She tried to make him look like the bad guy, and even after, he still wanted to become friends with her just because of Sakura's wishes. Once again, shout out to folks with the gum, folks. He really wanted the homies, so shout out to my boy. Now, move on to looks, presentation, and music. This movie was pretty beautiful, gang, I'm not gonna lie. There are a few scenes that almost got me. They almost got me. The fireworks scene was pretty gorgeously animated. And a little scene of Sakura when Haruki was reading her goodbye letter was beautiful as well. That almost got me too. The music was great too. They did the thing where they play like this beautiful ass song that goes with the story and the lyrics and stuff in the top right or the top left corner. And the lyrics actually go along with the story too. I loved it immediately. Got all those songs in the Arigato playlist, link down in the description. They was still playing that damn piano too, man. They didn't cut that shit out, boy. Niggas trying to make me cry out here for, and that's not happening. Move around that shit.
Stop with this damn piano, man. Shit.
One thing that I appreciate a lot in this movie is its use of silence. And there's a lot of moments in this movie that hit a lot harder because it's just the character speaking with dead silence in the background. No music, no ambience, nothing, just them. In some ways, it kind of makes me pay attention more, and it kind of makes like the dialogue and what they're saying actually hit 10 times harder. I'm not saying the piano tracks in the background like bad or anything. It's just something that I observed. Shout out to all the animators and musicians that worked on this film, man. Overall, I think that I Want to Eat Your Pancreas turned out to be a good watch. It's one of those movies that'll make you look at life a little bit different. It's one of those movies that make you appreciate life more and try to live it up more every single day. And it's one of those movies that make you want to love on people close to you more because it teaches you the value of life. It teaches you how unexpected death can come, but it also teaches you how much love matters right now. If you haven't watched it, I'll definitely say give it a chance. If you like Your Name, and if you like What's Wrong With You, if you like A Silent Voice, I think you will love this movie. It's definitely one of them ones. If you haven't watched this yet, please do. Please give this a chance. It just teaches you valuable lessons about life through these really good ass characters. And with some really it's some sad shit, some happy shit, some shit for you to laugh at, some shit for you to cry at. Like it's a really good movie that give you a bunch of emotions that are really necessary for you to feel sometimes.
I don't think I've ever watched a movie that felt so hopeless, I think it's the right word, like damn near all the way through. And like y'all know me by now, like I love to crack jokes and like laugh, but man, when I was watching this, I might have gotten one joke out this motherfucker, one chuckle out this motherfucker. So I'm not gonna lie, man, Raven Fireflies is sad as like genuinely like super sad. And like man, I done watched some sad ass shit, man. Like Plastic Memories is pretty sad. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas was sad. Your Name was sad to a certain extent. Silent Voice, etc. But like at least in those, there were like little pockets of little moments that'll make you like laugh and smile and shit, like soften the blow at the end, because you already know some sad shit was about to happen at the end. But Raven Fireflies has these same moments, but like the overarching situation looms so badly and so much that they just don't help at all, gang, in the slightest. Like a lot of movies do like the show the ending in the beginning thing. I think it's called like a circular narrative or some shit like that. But like this movie literally starts off with this nigga like, you know, dying alone. Like you can't get much worse, my nigga. Like, yo, what's going on here?
September 21st, 1945. That was the night I died.
Already, bro? What the Whoa! Like, goddamn, brother, can I open my bag of popcorn for? Like, what the like, Jesus Christ. And then this shit got the nerve to be even sadder from that point. Like, come on, man. I am in no way, shape, or form like a political nigga, but you kind of got to get in that realm when you really talk about this film. So hear me out and like what the film is based off of. So hear me out. So as a nigga that knows nothing and absolutely not knowledgeable about shit like World War II and shit like that, but I do know like during the tail end of World War II that the Japanese was pretty much on their last limb. And if they weren't already surrendering, then they were at least like at the point where they were like, it was like right around the corner. Like it's inevitable at this point. They knew that they had like an overwhelming victory. And from what I know, like the US just kind of like kept going, and as a result, not only did a lot of innocent people get put in harm's way, a lot of them actually like died. That's pretty much the whole, like that tone and that sentiment right there and that sentence right there is pretty much the tone of this entire film. And it's crazy, like out of all studios that got in this bag, it was Studio Ghibli that chose this one. And because from the other films that I've seen personally, this one sticks out like a sore thumb tonally. This has been some dark themes like into that and talked about in other films, but like obviously it's never been fleshed out to this extent, I should say. Obviously this isn't a bad thing because they pretty much didn't leave like a stone unturned and they really showed you how real this shit get. But man, Raven Fireflies is real, man. And I like the approach of this movie, folks. But it's kind of wild that Studio Ghibli was like, yeah, we're gonna make y'all watch this nigga Seita get his family ripped away from him one by one just as a side effect from this war. Like, damn nigga, I was just watching Ponyo run on water, bro. Like, what the like, well, I was just watching them grow plants from My Neighbor Totaro and Rat the Cat Bus, folks. But nah, like, nah, not seriousness though. This shit is great. I love this movie. They really set the tone like early too, because niggas was getting hell rained down on them in like the first 5 minutes into the film. And I knew something was up, man, when like Setsuko and Seita like separated from their mother and shit in the beginning of the film. I was like, big red flag right there, huge red flag. And honestly, bro, thankfully I haven't had anything war related hit really close to home, and I hope it stays that way. But like when you really don't know shit about war, I think the main thing you think about when you watch this movie and the main thing you feel, and like it's just kind of like the shock value and how much shock that you feel when you watch this shit. In these clips of you seeing me watch this shit, you kind of just see me sitting there with my jaw dropped, kind of in a, damn, this is a Ghibli movie kind of way. Like, this is very surprising. And how, like, real this shit is, man. I just can't describe it any way else. They show you the reality of war really fast. Like, them going back to see the remains or, like, lack thereof or, like, where they grew up at was pretty heartbreaking, my nigga. And then you take that shit even a step further and with their mother and shit, too.
Because it's a few things they do leading up to Seita actually seeing their mother, and it really kind of sent you off. So I think he was in the hospital, like, or in the field hospital or something like that. And like they opened a room and seen like a badly wounded person, and it wasn't her, thankfully, because they didn't show his face immediately. You kind of get a sigh of relief, like for a second, like, damn, thank God that wasn't her, and like, phew, type shit. And then they kind of make it seem like she okay for real, because they talking so positively and shit. But then when her auntie like went to go grab Setsuko and told Seita to go see his mother and shit, I was like, oh, I don't know if it was just me, but that was the thing that really showed me that, hey, this is bad. This is gonna be really bad. And man, I don't know what I was expecting. When they showed her, that was rough. Like, that was really rough. And I think the doctor was like, she needs to be in the actual hospital and we can't do much with her right here. And when he says that, you can kind of feel that they're not gonna get her to the actual hospital. You just kind of know she's about to die. And then that's already bad enough. And then you realize like, oh, they're gonna have to hide this from Setsuko. And man, speaking of their aunt, man, that bitch. Like, holy, man, I get these are tough times and shit, but everything she did in this movie was absolutely disgusting. Like, first off, she gonna manipulate these two children into selling their recently deceased mother's belongings just so they can feed the whole house. Like, yo, what? Then you start to see her try to get like Seita to like contact his dad so like she can get resources and use them further. And then when he didn't hear back from him, another huge red flag, by the way, that I picked up on, then they whole goofy ass family just started to treat them like shit because they couldn't get anything out of them. Like, bro, what? Like, I do not in any way, shape, or form condone men putting their hands on women, but this has to be an exception, man. Like, I would have sentenced her ass to a no holds bars match with the Undertaker at WrestleMania or some shit. Like, I would have sentenced her ass to a workout with the same weight as Mark Henry with no spotter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, man. It was a little fucked up to think this way, but I wanted the bomb to hit her house specifically after Seita and Setsuko left. Like, man, I hate her ass. Like, I hate their aunt so much.
I even give you some rice and you still complain.
But it's our rice in the first place.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, bro, these are children, bro. Like, what you on? And her reign of terror still went on after they left her house, which is even wilder. Now these niggas like homeless and shit. And when you homeless or poor in general, you get hungry. And when you get hungry, you get desperate. Seita get to stealing from the farmer to beat the shit out of him, served him up, and took him to the police and shit. Like, bro, this shit is horrible. And while this is happening, these niggas are getting attacked every 10 minutes in the film. By the way, like, if that ain't making it any worse. Like, man, like, this is bad. It's just hard to watch, folks. This is like baffling. And these niggas are evil, folks. Cause why does nigga Seita always walk past a happy mother and child? Like, bro, the happy mother and child with an intact ass house, folks. Like, bro.
Daddy's waiting for us.
I get it, bro. I get it. Their mom's dead.
It's time to go home.
I get it, man. You stop reminding me now.
Like, we get it, bro. His mom's dead. God damn. Stop doing that shit, folks. Like, Jesus Christ. And bro, like, they evil as hell, man. The way they implement these little happy ass moments in a story, evil as hell, because there's always a caveat to them shits. That Beasy and the Firefly scene are probably like the two most heartwarming, kind of like beauty behind the madness, like happiness and the disaster type of scenes in the whole movie. But unfortunately, Setsuko just sees a casual dead nigga laying on the beach after innocently chasing the crab over in that direction. And then after the Firefly scene, they revealed that they stank ass auntie done told Setsuko that her mom died. Like, yo, why? Like, why did you do that, folks? And then, bro, when she said, like, why do fireflies have to die? And then she was burying the fireflies, man, that shit broke my heart, man. Shit broke my heart pretty bad. But Studio Ghibli said, hold my beer, bitch, because the last sequence when Setsuko died was so horrible. Way worse, damn near. Bro, because, like, we already knew she was sick. But, man, seeing her sitting down eating those marbles out of the fruit drop tin and her balling that mud and shit up and said that she made rice balls from hallucinating and shit. And this shit got me for the shit damn near got me for. And, like, you can also assume from her behavior of like her balling that shit up and saying that it's rice balls, that she might have actually been eating them shits too. Just because she ain't had no food, folks. And then her dying, and then they showing all the time that she had to be alone because Seita had to go make some shit shake and like try to go provide for her and shit like that. That shit was bad too, folks. But you know, it got me. It almost got me, folks. But real niggas don't cry, folks. You know, real niggas don't cry, folks. And obviously, we know how the story is, but like, then part of me kind of just went back to the surface and kind of just realized like, yo, these are children. These are children that's going through this horrible shit. Seida's only 14 years old. Think about all the shit he done dealt with. He done watched his mom die, his sister die. He got kicked out by his aunt after she used him, got him to sell everything that he owned damn near. They're getting attacked damn near every day while he still has this kind of like delusional hope for the Japan army because his father was fighting in it. And reality then hits him, and he also found out that his father just died from a random nigga at the bank. Like, bro, folks has lost everything. He watched everything that he loved just fade away, and like, they died right in front of him damn near. And then he probably died of starvation shortly after. Like, nigga, I wouldn't want to live after. I wouldn't even want to live after all that personally, and I'd probably be pretty cooked mentally. Seida's like 14 years old. 14-year-old me would be cooked after that shit, nigga. What? Once again, as a nigga that knows nothing about war, I cannot relate to this like really in the slightest. I can only really show sympathy. I'm not ignorant at all to the fact that the U.S. can be pretty disgusting when it comes to like being halfway decent human beings in a political sense. Like, if that makes sense, or in general, actually, because we're pretty horrible over here. But Grave of Fireflies' depiction of this World War II shit ain't even like gruesome, but it feels like it is with how shocked you are when you watching it the whole time. And I'm not gonna lie, gang, I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in the one-time watch list because I don't want to experience this sad ass shit ever again. Like, no bullshit, man. I ain't even gonna lie. But this film did what it set out to do. It showed me that war is real and a f***ed up thing. And the U.S. are some f***ed up people for how they handled this particular instance of it. But it's kind of hard not to be f***ed up when you're doing war in general. I'm not gonna lie, Grave of Fireflies is depressing as shit, but this movie is phenomenal in my book. Because this has come from a studio that makes all this positive and like beautiful shit. And it's just, it's supernatural friendship, relationship, was happy shit, and then it's just war. The realities and the harshness of war. Like, tonally, this doesn't match from the films I've seen, it don't match any of the films I've seen tonally at all, but it's still really good and it's really real. Like, it's just really blunt. Like, they didn't do anything over the top with this one. And it's just depressing, but man, this is good. But that's all for me, man. I don't want to be sad anymore. That's all for me, man. As always, man, I hope you have a great day, man. Love y'all, man. Peace. Drive home safe, ladies and gentlemen.